안녕하세요, 한글님입니다. 자, 드디어 시즌1 개발자 소식이 드디어 이제 나옵니다. 28분 뒤에. 자, 오늘 뭐 하루 종일 뭘 했냐, 뭐 PVP도 좀 하고. PVP는 좀 상대적인 거라 항상 뭐 이기지도 항상 지지도 않는 3대1 최대 4대1까지도 뭐 상대가 약하면은 가능한 부분이고, 그냥 오늘 하루 종일 들었던 느낌은 정말 잘 차려입은 분들 이외에는 그냥 격사라는 수준이었다. 근데 이게 밸런스가 확실히 맞지 않다. 야, 여기서 오늘 이제 어떤 내용이 나올지 모르겠는데, 아무튼 오늘 아이템 거래는 가급적 삼가하시면 될 것 같고요. 지금 그래서 간 보는 애들이 굉장히 많습니다. 아이템을 어떤 식으로 하냐, 거래 사이트에 일단 올려놓고 일단 경매를 받아요. 받고 최종 완료를 하지 않아. 여기에서 이제 확실하게 3개 단계 5가 나오고 높은 위력이 나온다 하면은 골드 시세도 그렇지만 아이템 가격도 폭락하게 될 거기 때문에 던지려는 애들이 있을 거예요, 분명히. 자, 오늘 매니아 시세를 보면은 오늘 낮 시간이죠. 낮 시간에 막 또 과도하게 일부러 끌어올리려는 움직임이 좀 있었는데, 낚이시면 안 되고 당연히 저녁 시간 때는 다시 싸그라들었는데, 지금 아직 아슬아슬하게 1,700원대, 물론 개미들은 1,400원대 던지는 분들도 지금 계시긴 한데, 골드를 보유하신 게 좀 있다면은 오늘 조금 미리 팔아 두신 분들이 조금 더 유리하지 않겠나 생각을 합니다. 레딧 한번 볼까? 지금 요게 좀 관심사죠. 과연 배틀패스에 창고 추가 이용권이나 뭐 이런 것들을 포함시킬지 말지. 근데 지금 상황이라면은 이게 포함된다고 해서 욕을 하는 사람들보다는 빨리 내놔라라는 여론이 조금 더 강하게 형성될 확률이 높습니다. 왜냐하면 우리 그동안 창고 때문에 너무 엄청난 스트레스와 고통을 받았기 때문에 채찍으로 때리다가 당근 하나 던져주면 좋다고 달려들죠. 그렇게 과연 될지. 원래 기존 블리자드였으면 절대 그렇게 하지 않겠지만, 이제는 예전 블리자드 생각하면 안 되죠. 충분히 가능성도 있어 보입니다. 그리고 유저들이 원하기도 해. 지금 패스와 맥자일처럼 차라리 유료 인벤토리를 넣어달라, 대신 성능이 좀 좋게. 그리고 이런 월드보스나 이런 것들, 그리고 뭐 우버 릴리트나 이런 거에 보상을 한층 끌어올려야 되지 않나, 그러한 내용들도 아마 포함되어 있을 확률도 있고요. 지금까지는 너무 뼈대만 만들어 놓은 것 같은 느낌이야. 근데 그 뼈대가 결코 그렇게 나쁘지는 않다. 썩 마음에 들지도 않지만 그렇게 나쁘지도 않다. 이제 날짜가 바뀌었으니까 어제죠. 어제 또 패스워 백절 새로운 패치 버전이 나오지 않았나요? 야, 이 사람 가시를 37,000까지 세팅을 했네. 그 도적 PVP 세팅은 제가 계속 좀 하면서 수정을 좀 해서 나중에 공개를 좀 하도록 하겠습니다. 도적이 이게 PVP는 솔직히 컨트롤 싸움이라서 그래도 세팅에 영향을 전혀 받지 않는 건 아니죠. 근데 지금 뭐 이렇게 싸워보면은 거의 대부분 야만 아니면 도적이야. 드루이드도 끼어있긴 한데 비중은 야만이 가장 많고 그 다음에 도적하고 야만, 그리고 원거리 딜러인 강령술사하고 원술사는 아직까지 한 번도 못 봤습니다. 저는 하면서 중간에 스쳐가면서 보긴 했는데 바로 죽이고 그 다음에 다시 달려들질 않아요. 그런 유저들 그냥 순수하게 파밍하러 온 것 같은 느낌? 오늘 본의 아니게 한국 유저들도 좀 많이 죽였는데 제 방송을 안 보시겠지만 이 자리를 빌어 죄송하다는 말씀 드릴게요. 그냥 게임은 게임일 뿐. 예. 그리고 또 비방으로 뭔가를 좀 테스트한 게 있는데 그 인벤에서 올라왔던 그게 되더라고요. 그게 무슨 말이냐? 가변 수치가 높은 위상들 있잖아요. 뭐 보호자나 뭐 이런 것들, 먼지 돌풍이나 뭐 이런 것들. 그거를 제가 705 위력짜리를 업그레이드를 시켜서 725 이상을 넘긴 이후에 또 추출을 해보고, 또 725가 원래 넘는 아이템도 강화를 해서 추출을 또 해보고 해봤는데, 강화해서 추출한 게 맞는데 그게 올라가는 단위가 다 달라요. 아이템 위력에 따라서 올라가는데 아이템 위력 10 단위로 대부분 오르는 것 같았어요. 그래서 무조건 풀강을 해서 추출을 하는 게 아니라 미리 강화를 하면은 강화창 제일 아래쪽에 보면은 강화에서 나오는 결과물을 표시를 해주죠. 그거를 보시고 4강 혹은 5강까지 강화를 해서 추출하시면 되겠습니다. 그리고 그 뭐냐, 이런 프로그램 이용하시면은 데이터 마이닝 하실 수가 있거든요. 이건 뭐 고전적인, 제가 그 이전에 디아블로2 할 때도 클라이언트 추출용으로 아주 광범위하게 쓰이는, 뭐 아무튼 핵심은 그거예요. 이야기 시켜드리고 싶은 거는 아이템 위력이 999까지 일단 테이블이 마련이 돼 있어요. 그 소리는 적어도 아이템 위력 999까지는 뭐 이번 시즌 1이 아니더라도 언제가 됐든 나온다는 소리거든요. 그래서 저는 그냥 이번 시즌 1 때 3개 단계 5가 나오면 자연스럽게 아이템 위력도 더 높은 게 나올 거라고 생각을 하고, 그게 만약에 나온다고 지금 오피셜이 뜨면은 지금 기존에 있는 아이템은 어떻게 해야 되냐, 빨리 처분해야 되겠죠. 또 하루 종일 아이템도 팔고 막 이것저것 좀 했습니다. 이거 오늘 떴죠? 티저. 얘가 확산되고 있다. 옵션 문제였습니다. 부패가 확산되고 있어. 트위치 화질이 어떡할 거야. 우리나라는 720p로 봐야 되잖아. 맞아? 트위치 아이디가 이건가? 15분 남았네요. 트위치에서 이렇게 영상을 보면은 아마 실시간으로 번역된 그 자막이 안 나올 거예요. 이게 영상은 그냥 한번 쭉 다 보고 우리가 이해가 다 100% 안 될 수는 있는데 대충 보고 나서 바로 이 영상이 유튜브에 아마 뜰 거예요. 공식으로. 그 영상에서는 아마 자막이 달려 있겠죠. 그러고 보니까 디아블로4에서는 벨트가 없죠. 이것도 어떻게 보면 중요한 요소 중에 하나입니다. 아이템 부위가 하나 더 있고 없고가 차이가 어마어마하거든. 이건 너무 심했다. 지금 차고 있는 게 46%로 감속 중인 적에게 대한 피해가 46%짜리를 다른 걸로 바꾸려고 돌렸는데 감속적 피해 39%가 똑같은 게 떴어. 맞아 이게? 일단 뭐 이렇다 할 소식은 없습니다. 레딧에도 다들 새벽 3시 저쪽 나라에서는 오전 11시일 거예요. 저 소식만 계속 기다리고 있는 것 같아요. 다들. 헐. 여자 강령술사로 내장 전문가 스킨 이용 시 머리뿔이 안 나오는 버그가 있습니다. 이렇게 대머리가 되나요? 와, 픽셀 작으라. 운영 이거 팩트인가? 하드코어 100랩 1000명 리스트 공개. 근데 나는 이런 거는 별로 그렇게 부럽지가 않지. 일단 웹상에서 뭔가 랭킹 보드가 있는 거면은 오히려 그런 쪽에 더 끌리고, 이거는 실제로 가서 봐야 되는데 여기 갈 일이 없잖아 우리가. 아, 10분 남았으니까 팁 좀 볼게요. 타 직업 스킬이 있는 레어템 마부시 주의점. 저번에도 그 글을 인용하자면은 이게 마부를 하다 보면은 직업 전용템으로 변하는 경우가 가끔 있다고 합니다. 설마 그 이야기인가? 이미 일정 직업 스킬이 있는 목걸이를 타 직업이 마법 부여를 했을 때 현재 돌리고 있는 캐릭터의 스킬이 나오지 않고 원래 직업 스킬이 나옵니다. 아, 그러니까 아예 깔끔하게 타 직업 스킬이 안 붙어 있는 거에는 돌리면은 상관이 없는데 하나라도 붙어 있으면은 그 직업 스킬게 나와버린다. 인정. 그건 인정이다. 씨. 제가 오늘 여기에서 몇 번 까인 줄 아십니까? 지금 3천만 원부터 시작을 해서 지금 1억 5천을 걸어놨는데도 반응 안 하죠. 이거 완전 피 말리는 겁니다. 거절이라도 빨리 하든가. 중간중간에 한 번씩 몇 시간 뒤에 와서 거절 한번 띵 눌러. 그럼 또 한 1,000만 원, 2천만 원 더 올려. 그리고 거절하자마자 1초 만에 나는 올렸는데 상대방은 그냥 하든지 말든지 1시간 뒤에 또 거절을 띵 눌러. 짜증나서 1억 5천 올렸는데 이것도 거절 뜨자마자 1억 2천 거절 뜨자마자 바로 1초 만에 1억 5천으로 바로 넣었는데 또 뒤에 반응이 없어. 개 열받죠. 아마 이분은 아마 이 시즌1 정보가 공개될 때까지 일부러 팔 생각이 없는 것 같아요. 개 짜증. 도살자 초미세먼지 정보 미니맵에 해골 표시로 떠요. 꿀 달린 해골이죠. 꿀 달린 해골로 뜨고 도살자를 잡는 중에 악몽 던전 미션이 최종 클리어가 되면 도살자가 그냥 사라져요. 일단 여기서 팁을 더하자면은 황금 고블린도 말에서 액션을 취하는 거 있잖아요. 말에서 떨어지면서 스턴을 먹이는 단축키 1번 그걸 쓰게 되면은 고블린이 바로 그냥 사라집니다. 그 말 스킬로 스턴이나 이런 것들을 피해나 이런 걸 주지 못하도록 설정이 돼 있나 보다. 필드에서 만난다면은 그냥 말에서 내려서 하면 됩니다. 솔풀 사냥터 추천. 좋은 장소 찾았네요. 20에서 50 쩌레벨. 그러니까 결국은 선조, 여기가 선조고 여기가 예닉하고 여기가 흰발톱 머신인가? 여기는 보스까지 있는 던전이고 뭐 예닉하는 다들 아실 거고 이렇게 세 개가 그냥 왔다 갔다 돌면서 돌아라. 던전 밖에서 2분 30초가 있어야지 초기화가 되니까 그 시간 동안 가만히 있지 말고 그냥 일로 이동해라 라는 것 같네요. 근데 선조를 포기 못하겠어. 그렇게 선조를 꼭 해야 돼. 마을 개꿀팁? 아, 위치. 아. 자, 캐드바드로에서는 보석상인가 리롤하는 곳이 가깝다. 그리고 세리가에서는 그 뭐냐 갬블하는 곳이 가깝다. 그리고 그 뭐냐 속삭임의 나무? 거기에서는 이런 것들이 가깝다. 이걸 해주는 건데, 근데 이거 갬블이 여기보다 더 가까운 데가 있어요. 대도시 말고 조그만 마을. 어딘지 정확하게 기억은 안 나는데. 어, 1분 남았다. 야, 지금 트위치 6만 3천명, 6만 4천명 계속 올라가고 있습니다, 지금. 6만 4천명 돌파. 음, 720p 저거 안 되네.
That's it? That's how you open? I can do that.
야, 부금은 좀 끌게요.
Welcome to another Diablo developer update live stream. My name is Adam Fletcher. I am the community director for.
일단 로드 포커스는 이하 핵심 개발자들이 다 나온 거예요, 지금.
Yeah, well, not part of the wonderful crew. I guess.
Yeah. He decided to insert himself as of yesterday. So.
What is the power? If you have power, you should use it whenever possible. And I've decided to.
So we have Rod here, who is, of course, the general manager of the Diablo
Universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's the best way.
All
to say
things Diablo.
Can't use the word franchise.
PR's not here now.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, we have Chris Liao
Lead UX designer on Immortal.
and Ryan Quinn.
Hi, I'm the senior narrative designer on Immortal.
So we are actually starting off today's show with some Diablo Immortal conversations. Also, I do want to mention we're using new fan mics today.
뭐가
We've
껐다가
been
진짜.
joking around, and I call them the Britney Spears mic.
Right.
Rod calls them the Janet Jackson mic.
Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
취향
It's because I'm
만땅.
older.
급히 0.5 빠지고.
But he's not wearing
I really,
대박이네.
it doesn't take a genius to see the size of my head. And the ability to put a wire around this size of noggin is impossible. So therefore, I passed.
disappointing. But he does have a really good impression of Britney Spears.
I am not doing it now. I am not doing it.
Okay, maybe we can get it.
I'll knock my shirt later. It'll be great.
Maybe we can get it out of him during Q&A. Someone asked that question in Twitch chat. We'll make sure to bring that up during Q&A. And there you go. You're just on the spot and you have to answer it. So.
I think it's important that, like, last time you clarified what we were doing was the campfire, which is more of a casual, we're just kind of giving updates, you know, we just want to be able to talk to the community.
Yes.
This is more of a developer stream, so it's a bit more official.
Yes.
But one of the things we want to recognize too is that, like, as a family of games, there's lots of cool stuff happening within in Diablo, and so we want to take. We don't always want to just be focused on just D4. We want, anytime there's something big or really interesting happening within Diablo, we want to be able to talk about it. You know, I could imagine we're going to have a season 29 conversation for Diablo 3 at some point in the future. And so one of the things we're going to look at, wanted to do today was not just talk about, you know, we are definitely going to talk about season 1 on Diablo 4. And for some reason, Adam has structured this to be as tantric as possible. We'll get there, trust us, but it's going to take a minute. So, but what we really want to look at as well is we want to talk about a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about what's the preseason before we go into season 1. We're going to talk about, you know, what's going on with D4 today, because we actually have some news about today. Another tease, didn't mean that. And then we want to talk a little bit about Diablo Immortal, because something pretty incredible is happening in Diablo Immortal, which is in nearly a decade we're having our first new Diablo character class is being revealed. And we wanted to reveal it here on this stream. So, you know, one of the things about, great things about Blizzard is the SFD team, Story and Franchise, and Blizzard Video, and everything that they do around cinematics. And we thought, how can we introduce a new character class without having a kick-ass video to go with it? So, without further ado, Diablo character class coming to Diablo Immortal very, very soon.
이렇게 보니까 좀 나은데? 죄송해요. 크게 볼게요.
The darkness wants to consume you and all you love. But my kind claim its power. I wield it in defiance.
아 뭐야 버퍼링.
Humanity is right to fear the darkness. But I am a blood knight, and the darkness fears me.
야 이거 디아블로 맞지? 아씨 디아블로 이모탈 새로운 클래스 블러드라이트가
There we
나왔고요.
have it. The new class coming to Diablo and Diablo Immortal. It's the Blood Knight.
July 13th. It's
July
like
13th.
a little over a week away.
Exactly.
Sounds like there might have been some encoding issues.
Exactly. Yeah, I know that some people are talking about there's a little bit of hitching on it and so forth. I will say that we actually do have that trailer that will be on a blog on DiabloImmortal.com immediately after the stream, so people can actually check it out. It'll be on YouTube along with all the details that we're about to talk about. We just like to get ahead of ourselves. That's all. But obviously, first new class to the Diablo universe in nearly 10 years. I think there's a lot of questions in regards to like the story and so forth behind the Blood Knight. Ryan, give us a little bit of background regarding the Blood Knight itself.
Yeah, sure. So I think historically, when we released DI, we released it with these sort of 6 very, very familiar, very stalwart classes that all of us love, that many of us have been playing for decades. And it's great to kind of indulge in that nostalgia. It's great to get that dopamine hit of playing a classic. But after 6 classes, it left us with the opportunity to do something that felt really new and different. To do a supernatural class that's kind of monstrous, that does things that our other dark classes like the Necromancer and the Demon Hunter don't do. And so we're really, really stoked about the opportunity to release the Blood Knight on everybody.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I know. Like, obviously, everyone's kind of seeing the Blood Knight, and they're thinking, like, is this like vampiric in some sort of way, or like how does this fit in with the actual lore within Diablo?
Right. So the fine details are Blood Knights and vampires are intertwined.
여기 민심이 페이 투 윈으로 가자고 막 하는
They're kind of like
채팅들이
living plagues.
간간히 보이는데.
They go from hunting ground to hunting ground. They kill people. They bite people. And sometimes people who they
왜 디아블로4 이거 해놓고 왜 엄한 소리 하냐, 디아블로4 시즌에 대해서 빨리 이야기를 해라 라는 민심이 훨씬 많은 것 같습니다. 왜 여기서 뜬금없이 디아블로 이모탈을 홍보를 하냐, 민심이 없다. 우리는 페이 투 윈 게임은 우리는 싫어, 뭐 이런 분위기입니다. 대충 이게 새로 나온 클래스라고 합니다. 블러드 나이트.
Turning into a thrall is their drawback.
Well, their thraldom is essentially on pause. So basically what happens
기존 디아블로 시리즈에는 완전 없었던 클래스네요.
naturally strong and fast, can see in the dark, can smell blood from a mile away, doesn't age anymore, as you've seen in the concept art, very, very fancy. But on the flip side,
약간 드라큘라 같이 아까 보니까 막 박쥐로 변신도 하고 막 하는 거 보니.
They have black veins in their face, makes people uncomfortable. Right. And sort of more pivotally than that, you know, deep inside their soul, there is an abomination, a monstrous darkness that hungers for violence. And in order to tamp that down, in order to slow their transformation further, they have to perform a ritual. That keepsake that you saw in our cinematic characters right hand, the little thing on the chain.
Oh, the chain, yeah.
Yeah, that's basically their lifeline. So like
a link to their past.
Yeah. It's got a memento within of the last place that they were kind of truly human.
Right.
And so every morning, noon, and night, they're doing ablutions with this thing.
보라지 보니까 시간이 앞쪽에서 질질 끌고 시즌 1은 핵심 내용이 그렇게 길지 않을 것 같다.
Ritual, it's hearsay. You know, it's been passed down for hundreds of years, and for basically every Blood Knight, you know, it may fail at some point. All Blood Knights are doomed to one day succumb to their curse.
And they don't know if that's one day, 1 year,
Redstone?
1,000 years.
Could
They
be
don't know.
centuries, right? They're very, very long-lived. What they do know, and what they pledge on, is that they're going to use all of the time they have left to push back the darkness. And ultimately for them, since that is such an uncertain question, it's really about their inner sense of balance. Can I do enough good to make up for the evil that will rise when I'm gone?
I just wanted to give a shout out because we had the art up there earlier, and that art is gorgeous looking. At the same time, they're very pretty. I've been joking about it. I'm like, oh, look, they're so pretty.
If you were going to turn into a monster, you'd want to stop.
It's funny because they're very gorgeous here, and then they turn into the abomination, which is really funny to see. So it's like a complete opposite.
Well, I mean, you mentioned the abomination. I think we saw the Blood Knight turn into this creature during that. So what actually is going on here? Like, this is I guess Chris will talk eventually about how an abomination comes to be, but this is basically them tapping into what's inside them to change form.
Yeah, they're letting the curse off the leash just a little bit. It's going to grant them extreme power in the short term.
The Bruce Banner Hulk thing.
Yeah, but maybe there's a little anime teardrop there of like, do I come back from this?
Right. Okay, got it.
Awesome. Well, I know with the Blood Knight, obviously, it's new class. How does it fit, Chris, into the a gameplay style? Like, what if you're playing a Blood Knight? What can you expect the style to be as a person that's actually jumping into Diablo?
Yeah, so the Blood Knight is actually a melee hybrid class, meaning there's tons of up-close combat with polearms. However, they have a host of shadow and blood abilities they can use manipulate the battlefield in their favor. I think the drawback of Blood Knights might be that players that start playing it might feel that their mobility is limited. However, they have tons of legendary essences to help them improve the ability to close the gap on enemies, as well as life-stealing abilities to help them sustain themselves in lengthy combat sequences.
Got it. So like in combat more often, close combat, so they're essentially taking more damage, but then they have abilities themselves to actually essentially drain, as we can see, kind of like life from others, essentially replenish their life while they're in combat.
The kebab attack, as I like to call it.
The skewer.
The skewer attack is my favorite thing right now. I was like, so what's happening there? We saw it in the trailer, we see it here as well, where basically able to stab an enemy, smash it around like as if on the end of a hammer. So that's, Chris is like, yeah, that's basically it. You defined it. Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
But it actually has a stun as well, right? It's not just the
웃어,
attack on one
지금.
thing that you skewered, it actually
이 사람을 지금 10만 명 정도 보고 있는데
Stabs their polearm forward into the closest enemy, then swings overhead the enemy and slams it into the ground, stunning everyone in a small AoE. And there are also legendary essences that let you lunge forward or actually leap to perform the slam.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
And then I know, like, of course, with every class in Immortal, they all have different ultimates depending on their primary attack skills and so forth. Like, what kind of two different ultimates can we expect with the Blood Knight?
Yeah, I could talk a bit about the primary attacks. The first is Ravage. They're basically swinging their polearm around in a 3-hit combo. And right here is the ultimate, where they become a 5-hit combo with a stun at the end. And
Dual wielding polearms, that's, I like.
And the other primary attack they have is called Shadow's Edge. It's quite a unique one. It's the first in Immortal where in melee range, the Blood Knight will do a slash, and for enemies that are further away, they'll actually throw the dagger forward. And there are legendary essences that add damage over time or make the dagger ricochet.
Nice. So you can essentially, it's good room clear type of abilities is what I'm hearing. So if you got a ton of mobs in front of you, especially if the daggers are ricocheting and you mentioned piercing and so forth with the ultimate and everything, you can essentially clear out whole rooms with that. So it's awesome to hear. I know, as you mentioned beforehand, tons of legendary essences and everything that are associated to kind of modify skills. I know, and we're even seeing here, this is like the abomination that we were talking about before.
Why would I want to become the abomination? What do I get from that?
Yeah, so I'll talk about the abomination a bit. The way it works is it is a transformative skill that requires
신고한다 진짜.
enemies to fill the bar, much like an ultimate.
Right.
However, it happens much more often, and it then transforms your entire skill bar into a new primary attack, followed by 2 specific skills, a Blood Rush, where the Blood Knight actually dashes forward in a ball of blood, and then there's a 3-hit combo attack where if on the last hit they fly into the air and slam the ground, stunning everyone. A lot of stuns.
Nice.
Nice, that's awesome to see. I think with this update that's coming out on the 13th and the Blood Knight itself, and there are like even other components and that are kind of going to be coming with this actual update. Do you guys have any like additional information on?
There's ways to play it, right? Like the things that's really interesting. Like I think having a new character class introduced on basically the anniversary of Diablo Immortal is really exciting. Like it's a great way to celebrate 1 year that Immortal has been up. It's hard to believe it's already been a year. It's crazy. But so having a new character, but I've been like a whirlwind barbarian for a year now, and loving that. And so now I'm going to obviously, well, one of the great things about Immortal is that you can class change. So I can take my Paragon 500 Barbarian, I know that's not high, thank you very much. I can take my Paragon 500 Barbarian and turn it into a Blood Knight, yes? Like, there's basically 3 ways. We have the player who's been playing for a year like myself, we have the new player, and we have the test driver, right, is the way to think about that. So maybe you can go through that.
Yeah, totally. So if you're brand new to Immortal and have never played before, you can play the Blood Knight right out of the gate, create a new character completely free, and start with the main story complete with custom Blood Knight VO lines for all of the main quests. And for players like Rod, who have been playing for a while and want to convert to this class, I'm happy to say that we've made some major improvements to class change. Strength and intelligence will now convert properly.
I know, it's a huge request that a lot of people are asking for, yes.
Yes, it's going to be great. And also, players will be able to, during the event, change to the Blood Knight on a one-day cooldown and also revert back infinitely. So if you decide you don't like playing Blood Knight, you can revert the day of. Or if you want to try it again tomorrow, you can go ahead and change back to the Blood Knight.
Nice, awesome.
And lastly, I want to talk about the Crimson Plane event. So for Immortal players that are familiar with Fractured Plane, there will be a special Crimson Plane event where there'll be.
So I think a lot maybe don't know what Fractured Plane. So maybe just what's the 5-second version of what is Fractured Plane?
So Fractured Plane is basically a roguelite inside of Immortal where you're able to try out all of the skills.
예,
and
이분 얼마나
build towards
신경을 많이 썼으면은
defeating enemies.
머리가 하얗게 씌었네.
skills.
You basically start with a fresh class, and so you're taking your character. Like I have a very specific build with very specific gear. But if I wanted to go play Fractured Planes, it says, "Oh, you're a barbarian. Here's some random skills. See how far you can get with this," and you build up your gear and stuff as you're playing through this roguelike experience. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so now for the Blood Knight introduction, you've created Crimson Planes, which is a version of the same experience to go
이모탈
and test drive all the
끝,
different
끝.
Blood Knight skills.
Exactly. So
본론으로
you can try
넘어가자,
out different
빨리.
skills and legendary essences without actually committing to changing to the class. So just try it out, see if you like it, and if you do, there's always class change available.
Nice.
Nice, that's awesome to hear. So we have, and we have other things like I mentioned that are coming in this actual update. I know that for any new player that's coming in, of course they can create a Blood Knight, how we mentioned beforehand.
이모탈로 한
and it's completely
거의
free,
30분
and then,
가까이
of course, any existing character can do
시간
class
끌
changes
것 같은
if they want,
느낌입니다.
or they can create a new character if they would like to do it that way as well. But I know we have like a new legendary gem that's going to be coming in this actual update as well, and then we even have just other like items associated with this specific patch that'll be hitting
Full
as
set
well.
of legendaries for the Blood
Exactly.
Knight too.
Yeah, and we're actually going to be listing out every single legendary
blog, yeah.
that is available for the Blood Knight on our blog immediately after the stream. So you guys can check out the cinematic trailer that we showed off for the Blood Knight earlier on that blog, and of course read all the details about what's coming in this update that is hitting on the 13th of July. So soon. It's crazy.
야, 모델링하고 커스터마이징이 디아블로4보다 더 나은 것 같기도.
I just want to like.
Why are you, for people
Mobile
who don't get to see
game,
the full frame rate, you're basically rubbing their noses right now.
Essentially, like
Go watch it again, please.
see it in the Blizzard cinematics team, amazing team. That cinematic is great. Nothing like seeing blood splattered all over some stained glass. It's Diablo, so it makes perfect sense. It's great. But we are super stoked. So yeah, July 13th is when it's going to be coming out. And then, of course, again, check diabloimmortal.com immediately after the stream. We'll have a blog up there for people to check out. All the
Yeah,
details.
congratulations, guys, on the
Yep.
year. It's been an amazing year for Immortal. And I think people who maybe you tried it at launch and haven't gone back to take a look at it, like basically every quarter we do major updates and really change the game. So the ability to craft set items, the ability to take your duplicate legendaries and turn that into a currency so that you can make your current legend, stronger, and the way that you do dungeons now, like and the tower, the clan play, like there's just so much else going on. So it's a free-to-play game. If you want to go check it out, just to see all the changes. Like I said, there's been in a year. It's complete. To me, it's a completely different game in the sense of the different ways that you can approach the content, which is exciting. But hearing the fact that you fully recorded all VO for the Blood Knight for the campaign, I think it'll be exciting to go back and start over.
Yeah, it's about 2,000 lines in total. We've got a pair of really, really awesome voice actors, Abby Trott and Ben Prendergast. Absolutely killed it as the Blood Knight. It's just pure haughtiness and bloodlust and action all the way through. They've got some interesting takes on. I was going to say the name of the villain, our Act 3 villain in Darkwood. Some interesting perspectives there. But yeah, I don't think there's ever really been a better time to re-roll, to start a new run through the main story.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys very much, and congratulations.
Thanks so much,
thank you.
Rod. We're stoked.
And we're going to be now switching over to D4 content. We're actually going to take like a really short break because we got to swap people in. This room is only so big, and we also need mics off of people and everything. But we're going to be swapping in into our Diablo 4 segment. So we'll see you here in a minute or so.
나오나 드디어? 어?
Din honom exousia. Ancora din exousia. May we fight true in His holy name. Blessed be the light.
I have returned to hell for you.
And we're back.
What happened to the awkward hello? You're supposed to go, hello.
That's going to be my intro
I'm
for
technically
everything.
not back.
Wait,
그러니까 기존 트레일러에서 등장했던 것보다 약간 씬들이 조금 더 추가가 된 풀 영상인 것 같습니다.
Tim also has the best
뭐
voice.
더 새로운 게 추가가
So Tim,
된 줄
Tim is just
알았는데
going to talk for the rest.
기존에 봤던 트레일러는 편집된 거고 이게 풀
You should actually introduce people.
영상인 것 같네요.
I will introduce people. We are now joined by our wonderful Diablo 4 developers. We have Tim Ismay. May I introduce you?
Hello, Tim Ismay. I'm one of the lead producers on Diablo 4, specifically focused on seasons. I say that because if you ask me questions outside of the seasons context, I have no idea what's going on.
And you said plural.
You said
Wait,
plural.
there's more than one season.
리드 게임 프로듀서가
More
출연했습니다.
than one season. That's going to be, we're revealing that.
Or that's job security right there.
I'm actually just asking for it.
Wait, we're supposed to be thinking about job security?
And we have a familiar face.
Joey P.
이 친구가 디렉터고 총괄, 디렉터.
talk about season 1 today at last.
But first.
But first,
Oh, but first, that's right.
Because Adam has built everything possible to talk about except the season.
We can never start talking about seasons until we talk about something else first. But there are cool things to actually talk about.
correct. Obviously, it's been a little over a month since Diablo 4's launched.
It's only been a month.
Is it? Well, if you include
No,
like, early
no, but you're
access-
right. It is. Like, I always, the amount of feedback we get about, like, hey, this thing, and you're like, it's been like 5 weeks. Like,
Exactly.
give us a second.
Exactly.
So,
It has been a month, a little bit more than a month since Diablo 4 has
wait,
actually
how did you
launched.
guys get a season done in 4 weeks? That's incredible.
We started it well before the game launched.
that's smart.
We actually we're extremely good at our job.
Wait, so you
I don't want to get in the
started
weeds,
before the
everybody.
game
I don't
launched?
want to get in the weeds, everybody, but like we did start before the game launched to make sure that we could actually release.
I thought you were just
something.
going to say zombies are really easy to make, and so therefore it was.
Yeah,
oh my
obviously,
god.
that's what it is. Okay.
Also, people are saying that your mic is low, Mr. Joey P.
My mic
Yeah,
is low.
so I don't
Okay,
know if
I'll
we'll,
bring it in.
we'll fix that. I promise. Live broadcast, everyone.
I can project everybody.
Yeah,
That's
he
what's
can-
going to
He
take.
can start screaming.
Just scream at everybody.
And you haven't seen
So I
Joey P
interrupted. So
scream.
you're talking about the 5 week. I was just shocked by the 5 week thing, but anyway. So yes, it's been 5
so
weeks.
obviously it's been 5 weeks since we launched. We've had numerous updates to the game, hot fixes, patches. We actually had a campfire chat in between. Where we talked about even a big update that was coming before season 1.
13-page.
Yes, 13 page, which people are like, well, that must have been like 14-point font, double spaced. And I'm like, maybe it was, but it still was very big. It was like 11 pages on the actual site. But we've addressed a lot of feedback and everything related to the game. We still have more feedback that we're actually going to be addressing. And I will say that later this afternoon there is going to be another patch, climb patch. Surprise, spoilers, or announcement. We will have patch 104. That's going to be hitting all platforms later this afternoon. There will be patch notes posted this afternoon. Very much not as chonky as 103, but it does address additional feedback and issues that people have been reporting over to us in
you
the
got
actual
one?
patch notes.
Come on, put you on the spot.
Funny enough, did I actually have this printed out?
I don't think you can say that 1.04 is coming this afternoon and not give an example of something we're fixing in 104.
I know that they are actually doing a gameplay fix in regards to, or a gameplay adjustment to Helltide Chess, so that Helltide Chess will now actually drop unique items.
Yeah, have the chance to drop unique items, but yes.
Sorry. Have the chance, not like a guarantee.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
relaxing.
Now that's quoted, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
but,
So that's okay. That sounds stupid for me as the GM to go like, I thought they already could drop uniques with Helltide Chess, so I was mistaken there.
Yeah. It's, so there are some content types that the rewards are not dropping like unique items from it. So like Whisper bounty caches, for example, don't have a chance to drop unique items when you turn in for those.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah, but I think that there's opportunities for us to continue to like try to expose this more as we talk about these things moving forward. But yeah, this is an opportunity now. We want to make sure that when players are trying to target farm for certain kinds of uniques for their builds they need to grab in order to bring those things online, that those Whisper caches really can be used as a way to or not Whisper caches, the tortured gifts you can get from the Helltides events. Those are really good opportunities to go and try to go for those.
And that's this afternoon. So once 104 goes out, once your uniques can drop in.
That's
Helltide
right.
Chess.
That's right. That's this afternoon.
Yep, and I will say, like, we've been getting, like we've mentioned, I think, many times already in this stream, we have been getting a lot of feedback related to bugs, issues, or even just, like, general gameplay feedback, and it's something that the team has been reading through and getting through, and those are things that, obviously, we're addressing as we get through all these different updates in the future and everything.
We're building a big backlog. Like, this is the thing, I was making the joke about they started before, like seasons started before we launched, just to try to set expectations. Like, we're moving as fast as we can, but we have to move also safely, because if we move too fast, we could kind of vibrate the game out of stability. And so we're trying to be as reactive as we can, but in a safe way, and knowing we have a large backlog of season 1 was already well in flight, and season 2 is also very much well in flight. And so we're trying to make those adjustments. So we hear the feedback, so please don't take the lack of instantaneous response as in we don't hear you. We hear you. We hear about, I want to lock my inventory. We hear you about all the different types of things that you're giving us feedback on, and we appreciate that feedback, and we're doing our best to address it as quickly and as safely as possible. So, so just trying to manage expectations that sometimes it might feel, but again, it's only been 5 weeks. This is a game that we are going to, we're going to support for years to come. This is a foundation of, we said the launch was the beginning, not the end, and so we're going to be continuing to support this game through many seasons, and through expansions and what have you. And so please just allow us some time to catch up and work through our backlog to get to those items that we know that you care about.
And I do want to note that we're, as we were in preseason, we were obviously shooting out a lot of updates really quickly. And this is something we talked about a little bit on the campfire chat, but we are going to get into a more systematic way of being able to update the game. So it's not just going to be like ad hoc, hey, guys want a new client patch type of thing, unless there's an emergency. But yeah, people start to find a more some familiarity with how we actually update the game around seasons and client patches that may occur, whether they are in between or only on seasons and so forth. So we'll have that actually communicated out, and people then know what to expect going forward when we do have different updates or different patches that actually do
Yeah,
the game.
I think it's really important that we have now talked about things we did in the preseason. We've made a number of changes on the balance side. We've responded to a lot of player feedback. We've got 1.04 coming out later on this afternoon. But Adam, what do the people want to hear about?
So we're actually now going to talk about, no, but we do want to talk about season 1. Season 1 is coming, and we actually have a really cool trailer to show off before we jump into it. So hit it, Rich and Matt.
I am writing to you because although a great evil is receding from Sanctuary, a new festering curse now spreads its corruption across the land. More dangerous, more malignant than I could have imagined. I have found a way to stop this plague, to rip the dark power of these monsters from their very core and turn it to our advantage in destroying them. But I cannot do this alone. My allies have fallen. My strength is dwindling. The malignant are relentless and without mercy. I need help. I need you.
나 못 봤는데.
And there we have it. The first season of Diablo 4 coming out on July 20th. The season of the Malignant. Lots to talk about there. So we're actually going to jump into it. No, I'm just kidding. But obviously, a lot of people want to know what's going on. We even teased it on social media yesterday, where something was corrupting
제가
Sanctuary.
뒤로 살짝 돌려서 보고 있을게요.
I guess Tim, Joe,
Yeah, no, okay,
explain
so
to us what's going on now?
So season 1, the season of the Malignant. So our very, very first season in the game is going to basically take place after the events of Diablo 4. So after the redacted and the redacted have happened and the player has finished redacting the redacted. Once
시즌
all that's out of the
1이
way, that's when
24년
things
7월
really
20일?
kick off in the world of Sanctuary, kind of step
네,
off.
7월 20일 날로
There's a
정해졌네요.
new threat that's basically emerged in Sanctuary. There's this malignance, there's this corruption that's begun to spread throughout the hearts of the creatures throughout the world, and that's everything from beasts to humans to demons themselves, everything in between. Can be corrupted by this
자, 역시 제 예상대로 발표한 시점부터 정확하게 약 2주 정도 후죠. 네, 7월 20일. 지금 저쪽에서는 7월 6일이거든요, 아직. 정확하게 발표 날짜에서 딱 2주 후에 시작을 하네요.
Players going to come across a new character that they're going to introduce to over the course of the season named Cormand, who we actually saw in the trailer there. Cormand is, yeah, there he is. Cormand is an ex-member of the Cathedral of Light. He used to be a priest of the Cathedral of Light. And he's taken it upon himself to start trying to dive deeper into this new malignant threat that's risen over the course of these days following the events of Diablo 4's main campaign. But he's finding himself maybe a little out of his depth. You say, Tim? What do you think about Cormand?
Yeah, he's trying to fix the problem on his own, and then I think when he's not 100% successful. He comes to the player and says, hey, you were really helpful in the past. Could I get a hand from you? So that's kind of where things start.
Yeah, he's very. I think that if I like, he's a person. Everything in the room is on fire. But he's sitting there like, I can fix it. You know, we can find a way to solve this, right? But he's a great new character the player get introduced over the course of the season. But that's really just where things kick off. Now, and players will start the season of Malignant actually in Kyobashad, and they're going to gain access to like the beginning of the story of the season pretty much right away. You know, so you're able to start off right at level 1, like jumping out of the gate, and be able to start like following the thread of this new season storyline.
And we're going to talk about the transition from the current Eternal Realm into the season afterwards. We're going to get through the season information first.
Yeah.
Well, then, I know people are really curious about what happens to my current character, how do I think about that transition, but we'll get to that after we get through the season details, yeah?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So that's the kind of like the high level, like what's happening in the
That's
World
the
Sanctuary.
theme, right?
That's the
We
theme,
have a
yeah.
seasonal theme with a seasonal story, but like, what about the mechanic? On top of the theme, there's usually the seasonal mechanics. So what's the mechanics that we're looking at?
We're trying to add more stuff to seasons that appeal to everything that a player does in Diablo 4. So we are adding story, the elements of what you're going to find out about what is actually happening to Sanctuary, but then we want things that are new challenges for the player, things that you can fight that maybe you haven't fought before, as well as new powers, things that you can build your character in a different way, a different direction than maybe you did in any previous season, or in this case, in the preseason when you had just the Eternal Realm. So hitting all of those notes, we're starting with a mechanic around the threat. So what is the threat? The Malignant. We've been talking about it a lot. Where's the Malignant
네, 앞으로 수수께끼 지옥 물결에서 수수께끼 상자에서 고유 아이템이 조금 더 풍부하게 드랍을 할 수 있게 해주는 것 같아요.
There's a chance that it will spawn as a malignant version of that monster. So that malignant version is going to have these growths on it and some additional power.
아니 왜 선망이야 왜 소용돌이
appear, the exposed malignant heart that was causing this. If you then interact with that heart by using a cage of binding, it now starts a ritual where it's pulling all the malignants in and a new, even more powerful version of that elite is spawned.
Yep.
Why would you want this? How does this help you? Well, if you can manage to beat that even more powerful version where you see these other minions are now helping it, these other malignant creatures, now it drops the caged heart. You've actually put all that malignant power into this cage that is an item that you can use that is kind of like a gem. It's like a gem in the sense that you can socket it into gear. It is very much not like a gem in the sense that it has
이번 시즌이 말리그넌트라는 저 시즌인데 얘를 잡으면
it's like
뭘
that, maybe even a little bit more than that. So you can take these malignant hearts, you can socket them into your jewelry, and that gives you these kind of stupid new broken builds that are hopefully balanced, but they are extremely powerful. So these are new options of how you can play the game.
Yeah, so this is really, really cool, right? So one of the things we really want to do with each season, to Tim's point, is we want to make sure that we're providing new ways for players to engage with Diablo 4, new problems for them to solve, new ways for them to customize their characters and kind of do new cool stuff.
Right.
And that's what Malignant Hearts and the powers associated with Malignant Hearts really allow us to do. So one of these things, so yes, you can take a Malignant Heart that you've managed to collect from one of the consumed that you managed to kill, one of these super malignant creatures that you've killed this way, and you can socket them into your gear. We have over 30, we have 32 new, I'm not going to say like over 30, we have 32 new malignant powers.
You know exactly how many powers.
Technically, it's 32. So we have 32 new malignant powers are going out this way. These are new legendary power-like abilities. You can see this one here, critical strikes.
아이템 위력
electrical charge,
266짜리
creatures for
뭔데,
a
저거?
certain amount of damage. So these are like there's a lot of really powerful things like this.
보석 대신 넣을 수 있는 거야,
that
저렇게?
interact with over the course of time. But
Critical
each of the
strike
malignant hearts
charge
you're
the enemy
collecting are
into
actually
punch.
like a category. They're
어,
associated with a color. So if like
이따가
blue hearts,
멈춰서 봐야
like
되겠다.
have a blue color to them, and they'll only go in
자,
festive
기존
sockets
보석이
you'll find on rings and jewelry during the
이
season of the
시즌
malignant of a
1에서는
matching color.
I see.
So when you're hunting for when you're finding the
저걸로
amulets and
대체되겠네.
rings or gambling at the like the Opal's vendor, whatever it is you want to do, you're kind of looking for specific socket colors.
Or if you're getting a unique ring from the new Helltide chest rewards as you're playing from the one.
That's right. If you happen to luck out and get Mother's Embrace because you need another Mother's Embrace, then yes, you can absolutely.
One will never do. But what's interesting, like with so there's 3 different types of color sockets. Yes.
저랑 세계 단계 5가 안 나오겠는데 이거?
There's 4 different types of malignant hearts.
Go on.
Well, Well, okay, I guess I will. So the last malignant heart type is called basically a raffle. It's an extremely powerful malignant heart type. They're very, very rare to find. They will fit in any colored socket as you go. And you kind of want a combination of all of these. So even though the raffles are pretty strong, you're really only looking to probably have like 1 or 2 of these based on what you might actually need for your build. over the course of time.
맞아요. 디아블로 3에서도 했었고 패스오브 액자리에서도 예전에 했던 거예요.
Different ways for players to engage with things and really change up that experience by virtue of adding these new powers. They're going to unlock different builds potentially for classes, to Tim's point, and just basically be like a really fun, exciting new way for players to kind of inject new power into the experience.
But you're looking for the, so can the jeweler, when the jeweler right now can add a socket to, a piece of jewelry,
Yeah.
Are they able to add colored sockets, or are those only
You can
found?
choose the color, but anytime a ring would roll with a socket when the season of Malignant starts, it's always going to have a color associated with it. There's not like, you couldn't get like just a regular jewel socket.
But even a jeweler created one? Like if I have a ring with no socket, when I do the jeweler, it'll be colored?
It'll always be colored. Yeah, it'll always be an infested socket in this way. Yeah.
But that's true for unique.
저거는 시즌 한정에서만 필요한 보석
I
대체제입니다.
have a unique ring, like
레그넌트인가
the blue version.
몹
I couldn't find a unique
한정에서만
with the red socket
효력이
and the
발생하는
yellow
것들이라.
socket. So I'm looking for blue. So
Yeah,
there'll
you might
be
be.
multiple versions of the uniques as well, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, fun new stuff to look forward to, and that's just, I mean, we showed in the video earlier, like the player fighting a malignant creature. There's a chance.
이건 별로
as
크게
Tim
중요한 것 같지
pointed out,
않고
there's chance of
빨리
all kinds of
본론으로
things out there
좀
in the
가자.
world to be malignant in nature,
Right.
which makes them a little bit more powerful. But then when you kill them and you go and you actually use the cage of binding to capture their heart. Then you fight that super consume, the consume version. It's like that's gonna be like buffing nearby monsters. It spawns some bigger combat in that scene. There's more to look forward to, and those get tougher and tougher. And you want to fight higher and higher level versions of those in higher world tiers to get even better versions of those hearts.
Yeah, so you can get stronger versions of the hearts as you get further into the game, and you might be thinking like, okay, does that mean like the old, like the crappy hearts that I got earlier, are those useless? You can actually break those down at the crafter as well to get a crafting material out of them that allows you to craft new items, including invokers. So invokers are something that you can use a little bit further on. Once you finish the campaign of Season 1, you will unlock the ability to go and use these at a specific place called a malignant tunnel. So if you are
By the way,
trying to...
that's also the name of my colonoscopy.
Okay.
There we go. And
It's a serious thing when you're over 50.
This
You
is,
should know
and
that.
this, and this is when
That is a good point.
we-
So if you have a malignant tunnel, you should get yourself checked out.
So in the world of Sanctuary, when we say malignant tunnel, we mean, hey, I'm a player and I actually want to get more of these hearts, but it's just a random chance on elites out in the world. Where can I intentionally find more of them? There are these malignant tunnels. So there are actually places across the world where the malignance is manifesting in these new dungeons. So if you specifically want to go find more malignant hearts, you can hunt down these tunnels.
Yep.
You can go in and, hey, there are more malignant there. So there's a higher chance of finding malignant monsters there. And you want to guarantee it. Man, I really need a very specific type of malignant heart. How do I make that even more likely? That's when you take your crafted invoker, you go all the way to the end of a malignant tunnel, and you can use it on a malignant outgrowth. And when you use it on that outgrowth, it now spawns that specific type of malignant that's going to have the color associated with it of the heart you're trying to find. You kill that, and you're going to get the specific heart. So there's a little bit more targeted farming you can do as you approach the end game of Season 1.
Actually, I have if you go to the C video, it will be able to show you going into an evoker event where you can go in and sort of, which I've heard called the turkey baster from hell, basically, is what an evoker looks like.
It does kind of, yes. That wasn't the art direction on it, but yeah, that's where we ended up.
Yeah, at the end of these malignant tunnels, you're going to find that there are these masses of malignants that you're going to be able to go and interact with. And each of the
That's the
tunnels
one we
has
wanna watch.
a few different ones that can potentially spawn different colors of malignant outgrowths that can spawn from those. So it gives you those opportunities to go and like really target farm, as Tim's pointed out, like certain kinds of malignant hearts as the player's progressing through the experience. Yeah.
So when we show, like we were just showing it,
technical
yeah, show the
issue.
one you were just showing, because that was
Okay.
the invoker event. So basically, there's a growth. You get to the end of the tunnel. You're able to basically, essentially, you're requesting a monster of a particular color. Yes, you're saying like, I want a blue heart, a chance to get a blue heart by trying to defeat the blue monster. Yes?
That's right. And some of these, are, like particularly later on in the experience, like the most powerful hearts you can get are going to be delivered from things like these invoker encounters. to go and interact with. So yeah, something we're very excited about.
So basically, the user invoker on
Invoke the
one of the pods.
That's right. Yeah, the outgrowths from this malignant mass.
Which then creates a blue monster for you to go fight. You
쓰면은
have to take that down, which will then. So does this one go through the same mechanic where I have to kill it, try to capture heart to kill the harder thing?
When this thing pops up, after you kill this one, you don't actually have to capture it. You're fighting the powerful version of it like immediately.
That's what I was asking. Yeah, so you don't have to do the 1-2. Right?
That's right.
So that's nice. So it's kind of a little like the sigil crafting, where you basically, I've got a bunch of stuff I'm not using right now. I can craft it down so that I can focus what malignant hearts I want. Because maybe my build, I know I want a brutal heart, but I haven't running into any blue malignants out there in the world. So now I can go into a malignant tunnel, fight my way to the end, have an opportunity to use the invoker to create a blue malignant to go after its heart. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Roger's called it all.
And I know.
That's all I'm here to do is summarize.
That's good.
He's like, I will take everything you said, summarize it into 2 sentences. And I know, like, obviously with the story and so forth, there are like new boss and so forth associated
but
with
we're
it.
not really talking
We're
about
not redacted, but yes.
It's worth calling out, yeah.
It is worth calling.
There's new boss monster for players to fight over the course of the season. There are new legendary items for players to collect this season.
Correct.
There's our legendary powers, I should say, for players to collect. There's new unique items for players to collect.
Now those new unique legendaries and the unique uniques. Thanks for that. Those are not just in the seasonal realm, though, right? Are those things that are also showing up in the eternal?
That's right. Those will show up in the eternal realm. So
Exactly.
yeah, if you're a player who's like really trying to continue to progress your character in the eternal realm, there's now a few new items for you to go try to hunt for and use to kind of augment and change your build.
This is the moment where I can do the producer thing.
Okay, yeah.
So you probably saw it before on the screening. We looked at the cinematic, it was awesome, and we said July 20th. Oh my God, there it is, the day it's coming out. We are actually putting out the patch a little bit earlier. So just for awareness, so everyone knows, you're going to see your game patching on July 18th. That is all of the stuff coming to you that is going to turn on July 20th.
Balance changes, the new items.
Yeah. So July 18th is actually anything that shows up on the Eternal Realm is there right away. If you just want to continue playing the game as normal on your existing characters or a new Eternal character if you want, July 18th, the new
일단 리그 이름이 멀리그 너트인데
will be available
멀리그 너트
on the Eternal
불길한.
Realm as well as any other improvements. Balance changes, rewards changes that we've made.
얘네 불길하다. 시즌 1에서 망하는 거 아니야?
Season turns on, you can now create seasonal characters.
I think it's like going back to managing expectations. I think one of the things we've been trying to be really clear about with seasons is that it is not a continuation of the main campaign storyline. Like we've been trying to use phrases like it's a new quest line. Working with Corman to solve the malignant is a big, is obviously the journey you're on, but it's not about the Anarias Lilith journey. It's not extending that story. It's sort of a side story inside the open world.
Yeah, it just takes place after the events of Diablo 4. But you're absolutely right. This is a new self-contained story within the season of the Malignant, which is great. It just gives us it affords us a lot of opportunities to tell an exciting story and create like these new big features to kind of go along with that and support it.
So as I'm playing through that now, it would be amazing if there was some way to sort of track my accomplishments through the season. I don't know, maybe some sort of journey perhaps
you want to track your seasonal journey through some kind of feature.
I don't know if I could tee that up any higher for you. We went from golf to
T-ball really fast, no, absolutely. So this is obviously with season 1, where we're going to bring out the season journey feature, which I know we talked a little bit about on stream before, but I guess it's worth maybe calling out and maybe a little bit more clarity.
Hey, look, it's this, but without redacted all over it now.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is
top secret.
Yeah. So this is the battle pass we're introducing as part of season 1, and then going into here to season journey. And again, so the season journey is separated into 7 chapters. And like these major chapters, and each of those chapters has a number of objectives inside each of them in order to allow you to progress that chapter.
And you don't have to do all of them?
You don't have to do all of them. You have to do a subset of them in order to advance to the next chapter. So I think it's really cool. So like objective to objective, you're going to be earning favor drops, which can be used to fuel your battle pass, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. But you're also, for your chapter completion moments, you're getting big drops of that favor that's going to be used like an experience point value for your battle pass. But you're also going to be getting some like item rewards, and importantly, you're going to be unlocking new legendary aspects, ones that you can't normally get through the Codex of Power, through like dungeon completion, and also many of our new legendary aspects we're adding in the season. If you're playing in the seasonal realm, you can collect that for your Codex of Power by going to the season journey. So it's a great way for you to introduce yourself to some of these new things as you're kind of playing through.
Yeah, I love this. Like one of the things that's hard about, for people who know Diablo 3 and its sort of journey.
Hold on, wait. Do you love this?
I love this.
Oh, that actually feels really good to hear.
I love this. The notion around, like, I like the fact that the subset aspect of it, because I know there are certain things. I'll pick a stupid example. Like maybe I hate sellers.
신규 고유템, 스토리 확장 뭐 이런 거는 뭐 당연히 예상했던 부분이지만 우리는 실질적인 그 옵션하고 이런 걸 보고 싶잖아 지금. 그치?
I think that's great because that's like I find you get
신규
into situations.
고유가 나온다면 어떤 것들이 있는지
You must do this thing that you really don't.
전체는 아니더라도 몇 가지만 이렇게 화면으로 좀 보여주면 좋겠는데.
A subset of things to continue my progress, I think, is really smart.
Yeah, I think it's really good to hear. It's one of the things we really want to do is make sure that like the base example of this is like we really like letting players use our fields of hatred as opportunities to kind of like progress their characters instead of the season. But we don't, and we want to include that
Which is
in
the
season
PvP
journey,
fields, yeah.
which is the PvP content in the game. But we don't want to make that like a requirement that you must go do this content in order to progress your season journey. We want to give players the option to do this if they choose.
One thing I do want to call out here as well with the season journey, and I think you're going to call it out in some other places, is that it can be confusing to players initially that you go to this Battle Pass screen, you click on the season journey button. Do I have to buy the Battle Pass to get this? No. Everyone has access to the season journey. This is a base feature that everybody is engaging with. Actually, everybody has access to the Battle Pass too. You're engaging with, even if you never pay a cent, you are engaging with the Battle Pass. You're getting free stuff.
In the seasonal realm.
In the seasonal realm. Yes. Rod always reminding me to say that. In the seasonal realm, this stuff exists. There is no season journey if you're not in the season. That's very important. It only exists there. There's no battle pass if you're not in the season.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So yeah, that's essentially the way the season journey works. Those final objectives, those final chapters are really, really tough to complete. You can get some like special like cosmetics, like special like title and things towards the end of that path. So we're excited to see players like engage with it and for us to continue to support it in future seasons.
And so we saw that the season journey grants you a lot of favor to go towards your battle pass, but you also earn favor just out in the world killing stuff. And
that's right. Anything that's like killing monsters, completing like whispers and dungeons and things like all of these things are earning you favor as you kind of play through the season.
Right.
So anything that's giving you experience points is a chance to give you that favor as well.
So if you have never played the campaign yet, like you're about to buy the game for the first time with the season, for example,
right?
I'll be like, okay, I'm going to roll a seasonal character. I'm going to play the campaign. The fact that while I'm playing the campaign, I'm killing stuff, and I'm still earning favor. Like this stuff is still sort of progressing in the background, right? In
That's absolutely correct.
I just won't run into any malignant until I finish the campaign.
That's absolutely right.
자, 시즌 축복이 이렇게 있고
시즌
축복이란 게 따로 있고 이게 이제 그 우리가 알고 있는 페이투윈이 되지 않으려고 뭐 경험치 증가라든지 상점에서 물건 구입할 때 더 깎아준다든지 그런 버프를 얻을 수가 있는 거예요. 내 몸이 더 세지거나 이런 건 없습니다.
The idea of talking to corpsmen, capturing malignant hearts, having rings with colored socket or jewelry with colored sockets, that stuff all takes place post-campaign.
That's correct.
And so if you haven't beat the campaign yet, you're not going to run into these seasonal mechanics.
Yeah, you won't fight malignant creatures, for example, while you're going through the campaign on the seasonal realm, but you will shortly thereafter. So one of the things you can do, and I know we're going to talk about this, and we keep saying we're going to talk about this, and then we talk about it anyway. But like, so I would say, like, one of the things you can do to get ready for the season is to make sure you finish your campaign playthrough. Diablo 4, jump in, you can choose to skip campaign when you make your new seasonal character, and dive right into the seasonal story and content immediately.
And that's forevermore. That's one thing we tried to say is that once you complete the campaign on
일단 아까 살짝 지나간 그 화면에서는 시즌이 테스트로 그렇게 해놨겠지만 102 days라고 되어 있었거든요. 102일 남았다 이런 식으로 되어 있는 화면이 송출이 됐는데 3달에서 4달 정도로 잡고 있다는 거는 우리가 기존에 알고 있었던 거고 저 수치대로 하진 않겠죠. 대충 저 정도 된다.
Whether you've chosen to just have the free battle pass or whether you've chosen to upgrade it to a premium battle pass, correct?
That's absolutely correct.
So can we go back to the screen? Because I think it's one of the things. What we highlight here is
102 days.
Part of the thing is kind of we use the term. Why would I want to complete
시즌 1 종료일
One of the reasons
102일
you want to complete the
남았다고.
battle pass is you could look like this. And by completing the battle pass in terms of the mount armor, the armor that the characters are wearing.
시즌 1에서 이제
And so
얻을 수
Do you
있는
want to talk a little
것들.
bit about
Yeah,
some of the
I mean,
stuff?
one of the things that's really cool about a lot of items in the battle pass.
별로 끌리지도
there
않는데,
are
이런 거.
these really exciting like armors to chase for the characters. There are like
문신
bundles
말에다가
to
동태
chase
눈깔.
for different classes. And we have even things like the like what we're showing off here, like the artisan's tunic. We have some things that are like these. And this is actually one of our free cosmetics. Actually, is this the things are like a little bit lower
별로
fantasy. That can
마음에
just
안
kind of
들어.
like role play different kind of themes out for your characters. Just give you more
오,
options. And we have like our bigger
이거는
stuff
좀
like this.
멋있는데.
This is like the awoken cold iron stuff.
일단
Some of, like,
이펙트가
the,
붙어 있는데
like,
머리에
chase armor cosmetics existed
룩은
in
별론데
the,
이펙트가
end of the battle
있다.
pass.
It's one of the things that, like, if you notice
이것도?
either the role-playing armor, like the artisan tunic, or the
근데 이게 확대해서 보니까 이게
helmet,
보이는
is that
거지.
one of the big things
어?
about the battle pass is that unlike the shop, the battle pass, all of the cosmetics are class agnostic. So why we have a preview for all 5 classes.
그리고 이런
You can see
것들은
what it looks like on
희소성이
the
있어야지.
barbarian, what it looks
누구나
like on the
다
hero,
얻어서 누구나 다 타고
necromancer, those
다니면은
sorts of things. And that's one of the nice things about the battle pass is everything you're earning on the battle pass,
Yeah.
class agnostic.
Yeah, for those class for those transmogs.
The exception is the transmog weapons. There are transmog weapons on there that are class specific, just because classes
Can only use
certain
specific,
weapons.
yeah.
So if your class can equip that weapon, then you have access to it. Just to reinforce, I think it was already expressed, but there are lots of free things on the battle pass. If you pay to upgrade it to the premium battle pass, what you're gaining access to are a bunch of additional cosmetic things.
Yeah.
So the only thing you're getting access to by paying is that additional cosmetic unlock. So there's really, really cool stuff, some on the early end, and then especially on the tail end of it, that's what you're buying into. But the free version,
Keep going. I'm getting ready to transition.
okay, the free
I know where I want to
version
go at.
still has some very cool unlocks.
근데 저거는
And anything
이전에도
related
다
to-
나와
well,
있던
we're gonna talk
정보라서
about
새로울 게
classes,
없어요.
right?
Well, that's what they're saying with the free side. Like, so we were saying there's 27 free
Yeah.
tiers in the battle pass, and part of those 27 free tiers are smoldering ashes that you can get based on the level you are in the game,
Yep.
and that you've progressed with favor. And what do those smoldering ashes get you?
So these smoldering ashes the player will collect with the battle pass are, as you called out, like they're on the free track of the battle pass. You need to be you have a character of a certain level in order to be able to actually use them. So they're kind of like they're rate limited that way. We'll take those and you'll be able to use those and apply them to the seasonal blessings system.
Right.
And here, okay, we can actually finally reveal all of these. So here are the places where, as the players collecting these ashes, they can invest them here to give all of their characters on the seasonal realm kind of like this advantage able to carry through. So whether that is like bonus to like XP earned for monster kills, like we call out here, or things like boosting the duration of all.
자, 왼쪽에 있는 게
over the course of the season.
Right. And you can look
부스트
at
XP.
I'm assuming that, I don't know if it's linear or
경험치
not, but if I would assume
올리는
it's linear,
거고.
I can do it 4 times at 15%, so like 60% duration. on
이거는
witches,
탈 것.
in terms of that particular, the earner prolonging.
That's
탈
right.
것을
Yeah, we want to make this just be an extra little fun little thing for
구입할
players to choose
때
as they're going through the
탈
season
것
to
밴더를
kind of,
구입할 때
help them, like,
골드 소모량을
boost their characters a
감소시키는
little more
거고.
quickly as they kind of get deeper and deeper into progression to the season and give them a few different.
이게
advantages while they're
중요하네.
playing through.
어?
So if
셀비지
I were to max
이거
out with my smoldering ashes, they're like earner prolonging is where I want to invest my smoldering ashes. I can basically take my 30-minute elixir.
이게
and
중요하네.
make it almost a 50-minute elixir. So getting that 5% XP boost, maybe for me it's the extra 200 thorns. and
이거는
armor.
엘릭서
Um,
지속 시간 더 늘리는 거고.
Yeah, you boost like get more opportunities to earn like the or better million heart drops that can occur for you as you're playing.
이거는
These are
그
available to everyone because who's in the
불길한
season realm
심장
because it's part of the
드랍률을
feature.
올리는 거.
Yes.
이번
And they are
시즌이
limited based
불길한
on,
심장을 이제 보석
they're also
대신
limited based on the level of
끼워서
the player, so that even
사용하는
if someone were to use
그런
the
건데.
tier skips,
Yeah.
even though they
이-
might get to the tier that says free
You unlock
smoldering
the ash,
ashes,
it might
it
require-
이
doesn't actually
젤을
unlock until you get to the
우리가
level requirement.
Yeah,
무한정
for
얻을 수 있는 게
example, the
아니에요.
first ash that you unlock in the battle
어디에
pass is
투자할지는
tier 8.
솔직히 경험치
Yeah,
같은
it
거는
has a level 4
레벨업 하면
guarantee,
되잖아 그냥
as an
그
example.
레벨까지.
Make it really, really clear, like, you will be
다른
able to use this
것들을
in time, but
할
immediately
확률이
when
더
you
높을
continue
것
to
같네.
progress your character and like, continue to level
그러니까
up,
이게
you'll be able to,
핵심 내용이 아니라 기존에 다 우리가
Okay,
알고
so-
있던 내용을 지금 다시 한번 학습시켜주고 있는.
So basically, the way, what we said.
우리가
so we have a
원하는
seasonal
거는 다음
theme of
시즌 때
the
어떤
malignant, which has
어떠한
the mechanic of
아이템들이
capturing
나오고
malignant hearts and putting it into jewelry.
세계 단계는
We use that
올라가는지
to complete our season's
콘텐츠는
journey.
어떤 것들이
Our
더
season's
추가가
journey is
되는지.
rewarding us favor. Our
불길한
favor was
심장
then
단순히
putting into
그거
the battle
얻는
pass,
거
they have really cool
그게
cosmetics
끝이라면은
and
시즌
whatnot.
1은
But also based
망할
on our
수도
level
있겠는데
and
시즌
our tier in the
전용
battle pass, we'll get
위상
smoldering
아까 전에
ashes.
몇
We
개
can use those smoldering ashes to
그렇게
apply a season's blessing, which
리워드로
allows us to
얻을
use
수
those
있는 거.
earners and get sort of perks for during just this season that we've unlocked.
That's correct.
So the free person's experience, if you never want to pay a cent, you are still getting a lot of power out of the season journey and the free aspect, the free unlocks on the battle pass. So this is kind of an increase in power for everybody. And then if you want to spend money,
마실 거나
reinforcing
가져오겠습니다.
that,
뻘소리만
that's
계속
unlocking
하는데.
more cosmetics.
Cosmetics.
And don't get me wrong, like they're amazing cosmetics. I am planning to pay to unlock them myself. But there's no power that comes from them. They are transmogs. They are not actual items. It's just a transmog you can place on your armor to look cool. They don't actually cause things to light on fire.
Yeah, it's just reinforcing what we had talked about before, like even before launch and so forth, is that the battle pass itself, anything that if you do pay for a battle pass, all the paid items are going to be cosmetics and for you. It's no pay for power.
And if you bought the deluxe or the ultimate edition, you already will have an ability to make that a premium battle pass. You know, it still doesn't. So that's great for them.
자, 이제
So then
얘네들이
talk a little bit about the transitional side of it.
라이브
in
한지
terms of how
1시간이
I
지금
go
지나가고
into
있는
this, what
시점입니다.
happens. So
이제
there's a
뭔가
couple of different
나오겠지.
things. There's like one is
앞에
like there's a
30분
need-
동안은
so there's a question- I guess we should
이모탈
talk about it
이야기로
now. Like one of the
뻘소리야.
big things that we hear the most
그
about
뒤에 30분
is,
동안은
hey, I spent a lot of time, I know
알려졌던
that I
거를
did
다시
do, I
한번
completed all my
복수시켜주고.
renown objectives, I
물론
got full
불길한
everything.
심장이라는 걸 보여준 건
Now I
이번에
hear,
처음인 것
oh, I have to
같습니다.
re-roll my character in season. Do I have to go find all the altars of Lilith? Do I have to go all clear the fog of war again?
Yeah, so I know we've talked about this in stream before, but it definitely bears repeating. So like when
그리고
the
트위터에서
season 1 goes live,
밝혔듯이
players
출시
are able to
날짜는
go basically carry
발표했죠.
over,
7월
all
20일.
the fog of war,
제가 예상한 대로 정확하게
everything, all
2주
the
뒤에
they've explored
시즌
on
1이
their characters in each
시작됩니다.
of the zones, like in the Fractured Peaks and Scotsland and such. All of that's going to carry over, as well as all of the renown you have earned from all of that, all of the
So
exploration.
can we bring
you've
up
done.
the screen? So
Yeah,
basically where we see areas discovered.
Yeah.
Let's say I've actually, okay, we'll say this is this person.
Yeah.
So right now, they've got 30 areas discovered, which is worth 150 renown.
Right.
So what's going to happen is in the season, I'm going to have 30 areas clear inside of Kyrgyzstan, and I will have 150 renown already in the bank. And it will have unlocked whatever 150 renown will have unlocked. on that.
Absolutely right. Yep, absolutely right. So you're going to have that, and you're also going to have already collected all of your altars of Lilith that you've got from your
So the same thing here. So I will have 12.
이것도 이미 공개가 됐죠.
appearing on my map immediately.
이미
And I
알고
will have
있던
120
내용이죠.
renown
릴리스
in the
유지되고
bank with my
지도 안
other maps. So
밝혀도
I'll have
되고.
270 renown already earned, waiting for me to claim when I fire up the season.
그래서 우리는 시즌을 시작하면 기본적으로 이 정도까지는 깨어져 있는 상태로 시작하는 거예요.
From discovering all of the areas and from getting all of your altars of Lilith is going to get you in each of the zones. Basically, through the first 2 tiers, a little bit away through the 3rd tier
Right.
for each of the zones for renown. So you get to start with, like, if you start at level 1 on day 1 of the new season with a brand new character, you'll start, and you've done all of this work with your previous characters and previous playthroughs. You'll have 5 skill points to play with, and then 5 extra potion charges. So you'll be sitting at 9 potion charges.
At
right
level
away.
1, you'll have
Yeah.
5 skill points and 9 potions ready to go.
Absolutely. You just claim those things down, you're good to go for the season.
And your map reveal.
And your map.
And your
reveal.
map reveal
So
also
that
reveals.
so that goes back to what Tim was teeing up earlier. When we think about, hey, I'm excited about the season. I want to prepare for it. I've got, what is it?
그럼 우리는 들어와서
6
보루
days?
깨야 되고 모든
today's
던전 다
6,
돌아야
yeah.
되고 사이드 퀘스트 해야
14
되고.
days.
14
I have
days.
2 weeks. What should I be doing in these next 2 weeks? And so one was, I better get the campaign done because I really want to
complete the
want to
campaign.
fight the malignant. But now, like, if you had places to go to, like dig deep on clearing the fog and dig deep on finding the altars, because those are going to carry into the season.
Yeah, all that stuff will carry over with you.
Okay, so then Tim, how do I think about, I've got 5, 6 alts, my characters right now in the Eternal Realm. We're talking about carrying over progress based on your, how do I ensure that the progress, like the most progress character, it actually impacts my seasonal character? Like,
Yeah, Tim, tell
could
us.
Yeah, it's a great question. For various technical implementation reasons, we do actually need you to log in on existing
잠깐만,
characters
또 튕기겠다.
to kind of self-migrate some of your data with this. So this is something that we implemented based on player feedback that we got. So we put it in as quickly as we could. It is in for season 1, but what we need you to do, once season 1 comes out, actually once the patch comes out, you don't even have to wait until July 20th. You can do this on July 18th, which is when the patch goes live. You should log in with characters that have the most progress. If you have a single character you played, or if you have one character that, hey, on this one character I unlocked all the altars and cleared all the fog of war, awesome. You just have to log in with that person. When you log in with that character, all of that progress is going to be propagated across your entire account. It'll be saved as, hey, this is just unlocked for your whole account now. At that point, any character you log on, either one of your existing alts or any new character you make in seasons will now have all of that progress. So you have to do it once, But after you've done that, it is now saved to your account. And just to reinforce, the experience you're going to have if you have unlocked all of these things, it takes a little bit of work, but if you've unlocked all of that, when you start that new seasonal character, wow, is that a lot of power. You are going to level pretty fast, because extra 5 skill points, extra 5 potions, you are ridiculously overpowered when you first start playing. Like, that is a lot of extra
It
power.
will accelerate you a little bit as you start.
And because that is a big caveat, like we will be reminding everyone. I'm going to be like literally screaming it from the rooftops. I know we will be posting it in our patch notes on that come out for the patch on the 18th, just to remind people that yes, log into your characters beforehand. Even if you log in, like if you jump into the season later on, you can log into those characters with the most amount of progress.
Well, that's that's the two things we should. There'll probably be questions, but one is I don't do that for whatever. I go on vacation. I'm not playing. I come back. The season started. I can still log in my Eternal Realm character and have all that progress brought to the season. Yes.
Yes.
Even after the season started. So it's not like, oh, you only have 18 to 20 to get it those 2 days.
It's there forever. Functionally, from this point forward, anytime you ever log in on a character, it will just check like, hey, does this character have any progress that's not already credited on your account? Cool, I'm now crediting it to your account.
Right. And so and that's for the seasonal. So if I think about the Eternal Realm, like for example, my Necromancer has everything. I've got the full bar on renown on all 5. Not humble bragging. I'm just that's the
아니
point of
강령도
fact.
강령인데 야만 소용돌이는 어떻게 걸까?
So let's talk about how good my Necromancer is. Now, what all I'm saying is I have a Sork that has not had the same level of progress in the world. So after the 18th, when I log in my Necro and all that progress gets put to my account, when I go to log in my Sork next, even on the Eternal Realm, my Sork will now have all the progress that my Necro has.
Correct.
Absolutely.
That's exactly right.
And let's say, like, just diving really deep into this. So let's say that you've got,
I know,
you've got 2 different
we
characters.
should do some sort of dev
You've
stream where we can talk and go deep.
That's true, actually, yeah. So let's say you've got like 2
강령도 좀 더
characters.
상향을 해줘야
One
되고
peaks, it's like cover
원서술사도
everything
그렇고
peaks, it's uncovered, like, all
일단
the
두
all of- You get another
원거리
character who's got
직업군들이
everything in God's Glen, who's unlocked, like,
PVE는
all
뭐
the fog of war has found all this Lilith. If I log in on my Fracture Peaks character, and just by
일단 그런
doing that,
밸런스에
all
대한
of
내용은
that credit will now
전혀
be transferred to my
언급
Scotsman
안
character.
해주네.
When I log into my Scotsman character, all of that credit will be applied to my Fracture Peaks characters. At that point, all of the credit of the progress I made on either of those characters has been propagated to the entirety of my account.
그리고 인벤토리에 대한
It's not
부분도
just like, yes, and. It's not like one
No,
account
no.
that has the most stuff and then I want to log into that one. No, you want to log into every account that might have like tons of progress that they've made in different directions. Right.
And I
크게
think
기대는 많이 안
hey,
했습니다.
let's talk about managing
시즌
expectations.
1이라고 해서 뭐 크게 확
Some of
달라질
you
거라고
might be saying,
생각은 하지
wow,
않았고
that sounds a little clunky. And I think the
그래도
point
희망
that Tim was
회로를
trying to
돌릴
make
수
was,
있었죠.
hey, prior to season 1, we had actually talked about that you wouldn't have any renown progress carryover. You would have to go find the altars of Lilith. You would have to go clear the fog of war. Like the original plan when launching the game or prior to
딱
launching,
여기까지
the original plan
이야기하고
was that there
방송
was no
끄면은
transition
대박이겠다,
state
이게.
from Eternal Realm to Seasonal Realm as
게시판이
part of
너무
this. And so hearing the player feedback
욕하겠는데?
as we talked about seasons and hearing the response that we got about what, I have to find all the altars again, what, I have to clear the map again, and wanting to make sure that we were listening to the players.
Yeah.
We put in a system that allowed us to do that, but is not the most smoothest, most sophisticated because we were doing it under very tight time constraints as quickly as possible.
Hey, did you want it done? Did you want it done?
It's
The answer is
I'm
yes.
just
you want it
saying,
done.
I'm just
So-
saying, like, that wasn't the design from the start was not to do this,
Right.
log in a character on the 18th and make it happen.
Yeah.
That's what we had to do to make it happen for season 1.
And this was based off of, obviously player feedback that we had gotten since launch. So this is us implementing it quickly to address, the feedback that you guys have been giving.
Yep.
And then on top of that, I like a huge shout out to our engineers for getting this all implemented before we actually jump into
자,
the season.
지금까지 얘네들이 했던 이야기를
Teleport,
굵직굵직한 것만
happen and
이야기를
So a lot
해보자면은
of these actually end up with us going to an engineer and asking how long it would take to do it.
일단
The first
오늘
thing is to do it right.
2시간 뒤에부터 서버 점검을 하잖아요. 점검하고 나서
If you told me you wanted to do this X months ago, I could have done it way
서버를
easier.
중간에 끄지는 않습니다. 무점검을 이렇게
Yeah,
하고
we make it work, but sometimes the fact that you have to log in to get the progress propagated.
오늘 이제 1.0.3에서 1.0.4로
Okay.
패치가
All right.
됩니다.
Like zoom in on me.
그리고 지난번에 했던 그런 패치하고는 조금 다른 성향이라고 하는데 어떻게 나올지는 얘네들이 딱히 언급을 하진 않았어요. 1.0.4가 나온다. 로만 이야기를 했고
trying to make improvements based on the feedback we're getting from players. We're playing the game ourselves.
그리고 아까 이야기한 게 또 뭐가
We get
있더라?
a giant audience of players playing and enjoying the game. We want to make sure that we are making the right changes as quickly as we can for the community.
아 지옥 물결에서 그
Like all the feedback,
수수께끼 상자 같은 거 까면은 거기에서 이제
like you know we're hearing feedback about you know this and this.
고유가 나올 확률이 더 올라간다는 거.
We're trying to move very quickly in a lot of these things. Some of them are a lot more challenging technically to do than others, but we are rapidly moving on as many changes as we can because we are fervently trying to make the very best version of Diablo 4 possible in the fastest time frame that we can to deliver to the player.
그리고 새로운 시즌은 7월 20일부터 시작한다는 거.
So just know that we're working hard.
불길한 심장을 얻어서 이제 하는 그런 시즌인 것 같고 보석 대신 이제 박을 수가 있고요.
We are trying to make sure that we are delivering a really high quality experience to players on a regular basis. So just stick with us, keep giving us that feedback. We're going to keep making adjustments as we go between seasons and other updates.
I can attest that whenever Joe would like to make a change based on feedback he's seen from reading it wherever he reads it, the first version is always, can we do this immediately? That is always the first request. Never like, hey, let's get this in eventually. When it makes sense and when it's comfortable, no, it's always, could we do this right now? Is it possible for us to do this right now? So
I want
that's
to
the first version.
I want to the Overton window where I just expect everything to be done in 6 seconds.
But this is the thing about like why about doing it safely. Like I think one of the sort of the junior mistakes some people can make is this idea of like time is only what it takes to implement, and it's not. It's time is also what it takes to test and make sure that it's robust and stable. And so that's one of the things that like when you look at we have a follow the sun QA organization around the world, and that's what allows us to do, I don't know, we're what to 15, 16 hot fixes or more now.
Yeah.
And our big client patches is that ability. Not only can we get we have some heroic engineers who can turn stuff around very quickly, but we also have some heroic QA teams around the world who are helping us make sure that when we make these changes, we're doing it in a safe way. So, but appreciate your patience on that. And so this is exciting. Season 1, Season of the Malignant.
Yes. It's finally here.
Yes.
I'm waiting to reveal this for a long time.
In 2 weeks, and again, like Tim
It's
had
not
mentioned,
technically here for you all, but soon, very soon.
as Tim had mentioned, we will have a patch on the 18th for Diablo 4 that will contain all the changes that will be coming in with Season 1. If Tiffany Watt were here, who was on our Campfire chat before, she categorized our 103 patch as chonky.
Right.
I will categorize in Tiffany Watt's words as super chonky for Season 1. It actually is our largest, or chonkster, as Tim called it. I think we were chonkers. So we're going to pull up the Wikipedia entry and actually go through it, the history of chonkers. But yeah, it is very big. So we will have notes up for that. And again, players can prepare for Season 1 by completing the campaign for sure,
Do the campaign,
and making
clear
sure,
Fog of War.
clear Fog of War, discover the map, and of course get all your altars. So lots to come for Diablo 4. And then again, we also have just more improvements that will be in that patch, with our balance changes to bug fixes to you name it. I can go on. There's even some reward changes coming for some Nightmare and Helltide related activities as well, some endgame activities, because I've been hearing some feedback regarding like, hey, it'd be great if we can get like maybe better rewards with some of these activities, and so I know some of those changes are coming in that actual update as well. But I know we want to do Q&A.
We do.
And this is a live stream, by the way.
Yeah.
So I know we get sometimes people are like, I don't know if this is live. No, this is totally live. So we're actually going to be bringing in, we're actually going to kick off Rod because we're done with him. No, I'm just kidding. Rod is actually just
I'm actually going to go and annoy you from the side.
I know, it's the worst. Rod's going to jump over here. We're actually going to bring back in Chris and Ryan from the Immortal team. Who will be jumping in
I
here.
think you're supposed to open that chair. I didn't do my job.
I
didn't do my job.
Rod had one job and failed to do it.
I failed to open the chair.
So we're going to bring these guys in. I know we have questions queued up from different
이게
people.
첫 번째 시즌부터 사람들이 시즌 안 할 수도 있겠는데요. 이 시즌 안에도 시즌에서 나오는 새로 등장하는 고유 아이템, 새로 등장하는 견설 위상 이런 게
Live television.
기존 스탠다드 서버에도 그대로 다 나온다고 하거든요. 기존에도 그렇게 알려왔지만 오늘도 한번 다시 언급을 해줬는데 그럼 시즌을 왜 해? 시즌을 할 이유가 있나? 아, 저건 못 얻을 수 있겠다. 불길한 심장.
But we do have some questions, and I will be kind of going back and forth in between both of them. But we do. Oh, perfect. We do have some questions up here. Someone's also calling me, which is awful at this time. Quick question: any updates around? This is for D4 specifically. Any updates around respecting characters?
Yeah, so right now I think that there's a few different concerns we're hearing from the community. There's the general cost of respecting characters, and then there is at various stages of the game.
팔로워
then
전용
there is
쇼핑이네.
the actual experience
팔로워 안
of
해.
respecting a character, particularly when you're deeper into the Paragon system. Like that takes a lot of effort. So we have longer-term plans on the user experience side, like on the menu side. Things we want to do to improve the flow of allowing players to respect their characters. These are things we're actively investigating. We have designs for things we're looking to add into seasons in the future, but we don't have a date that we're committing to today for that.
아까 최고 시청자 12만 찍었나?
The actual price of that.
지금 다 빠지고 있으면 이제 10만으로 줄었어요.
We're taking a look at like what players are doing on a regular basis. We're not making any fundamental structural changes to today at this time, but we're satisfied with where things feel like in the 1 to 50. One thing we will be adding, though, is as part of seasons, there is now a new reward that you can collect as you're going through the season journey at the end of each season, called the Scroll of Amnesia, which once you collect the Scroll of Amnesia, you can use that one time to basically reset the entirety of the character all in one go for no gold cost at all. So these would be like pretty fun things to bring back with you to the Eternal Realm if you want to use for future playthroughs or for that character or another character. So we want to make sure that we're like slowly adding a few of these as the players progressing through the experience. Kind of make that a little bit easier for players to go through.
And that Scroll of Amnesia is everything. It's all your skills, all your Paragon, everything goes to zero.
Yeah.
Awesome. For Immortal, we have a question from, I'm reading everyone's names, 8 Miles West. How much will the Blood Knight cost? I know we covered this early on, but if you guys want to reiterate.
The Blood Knight will cost nothing. The Blood Knight is free.
It's free. So if you're a new Immortal player, or you're a existing Immortal player, you can literally jump in, start playing the Blood Knight on day 1, which is on July 13th. So, and of course, you can play through the campaign, and we had mentioned that it has essentially custom VO and everything associated with it.
That's right.
For D4, I should be more prepared with these.
That's usually that's a safe statement all the time. Is you should be more
We have
prepared.
Rod judging me off screen right here, and I'm just like, awesome.
Perfect. Little side story real quick. So we have a thing in design called design armor, where like as you're about to like talk about an idea with someone, you're like, this might be a really bad idea, but and that's you putting up your shield saying, this is my design armor. Saying, I know that this might be really, really bad, but we're talking about it anyway. So yes, I should probably be more prepared, but here we go. That's your design armor.
Question from Fig Larna.
You committed to saying the names.
I know I did.
We don't want anyone to suggest that these are not good questions.
Yeah, from Fig Larna. Will seasonal mechanics be added to the Eternal Realm after the season ends? I think that's something we didn't actually clarify very well.
That is a great question that actually gets asked internally as well a lot. Like, hey, this is awesome. Are we going to keep it around forever? Initially, no. Like, initially, the version of the Malignant mechanics that you're seeing are not planned to show up in the Eternal Realm. However, we are reserving the right as developers that if we see something cool and we think, wow, this is just fantastic, this should just be part of the game, that we will just make it part of the game. So it is absolutely an option. Some mechanics you might see in future seasons might be that way right away. We might be planning that, hey, this will show up in Eternal Realm right away. Others will evaluate them as we play them and then see if this is working really well. This is something that we want to integrate with the Eternal version of the game.
Yeah, I want to stay on this just 1 second longer. That's not to suggest that we're not going to be, as part of seasons, intentionally using those update opportunities to create content for the base game, like stuff that will persist beyond the end of the season. But we really do want to hone in on the idea that we're like, Malignant Hearts are very powerful, as we talked about before. They're really, really cool. They're very exciting. We can't add something exciting like that every season if it's expected to all last, because the game's going to be a complete mess.
Right.
So we're not going to do that. What we would end up needing to do is all of those things would be extremely incremental in terms of what they offered to the players over the course of time. and it would make the game extraordinarily dense in terms of what the players expected to do on a regular basis.
And to understand.
We know that there's opportunities to extend things like add more end-game features. We know that there's more content we want to add to the game in general that like everybody's going to need forever, and we're going to be looking at those opportunities as we go. But things like Malignant Hearts, we don't want to have something of that size in Season 1, then add something of similar size in Season 2, and then Season 3 and Season 4, because the game's going to get extremely dense and difficult for players to really navigate. We want to be able to like take these things away, introduce new ideas, but having known what worked really well with Malignant Hearts and what stuff we could maybe have improved upon, we get to take all those ideas forward.
It's also part of the cool factor of the season is that when you're going in these Malignant Hearts, it's there for the season. So even, let's take a player that, let's say, doesn't like to play alts except of the same class. I just love playing Barbarian. And, you know, I have 3 different Barbarians already on Eternal because it's the perfect
rogue
class.
player, and all you play is rogues, and all you do is build rogues.
There might be a lot of those too. But let's say a Barbarian, that's my hypothetical, I'm sticking with it. So I'm a Barbarian lover, and I've made all these Barbarians. Season 1 is still an exciting time to make a new Barbarian, because we have all of these new Malignant powers that allow you to make radically new builds that are completely different from Barbarians you played in the past. Your endgame is going to be very different. So that excitement goes away if we just say like, oh, all of these powers just exist in the game forever. The whole idea is that no, every season is a fresh new experience that gives you builds that did not exist previously. So the idea is some of that stuff is always designed to go away.
So Joe, I mean, one of the things.
This is Rod off camera speaking.
Rod off camera. Hey,
yeah,
voice guy.
Joe, yes.
Maybe speak to the fact that everybody starts at the same place of the season as one of the benefits, so that people aren't like a year behind when they go to play Season 4.
Yeah, that's an important part of this as well. One of the reasons we really like the idea of letting players start back fresh and have like an economy reset, players really jumping back into the experience at level 1 with characters, is it allows us to
지금 계속 Q&A 시간을 가지고 있는데 첫 번째로
engaging and exciting for players to go through.
이야기 나온 게 그 특정 스크롤을 사용하면은 모든 스킬과 그다음에 모든 정복자 보드를 완전 싹 다 초기화를 해주는 골드 소모 없이 스크롤 하나로 싹 다 초기화해줄 수 있는 스크롤이 시즌에서 보상을 얻을 수 있다고 하네요.
Part of what makes a Diablo game anyway is like making a new character, getting those item drops, like building up towards the end. With regards to like the way that we decided to conduct our efforts in seasons for Diablo 4, we think this is a really like the prime example of the way that we can make this work.
But I wanted you to hit on the point, the fact that if somebody buys the game.
Yeah. They're not like fundamentally behind.
Yeah, if somebody, look, I'm gonna mess with the camera people. You can't even do it, can you? You can't even get there. All we can do is I can just have my talking stuff. Oh, hey, what's going on? The notion of the thing that we're talking about is that we want, again, the game is a live service. The game's gonna live for years. We want somebody who buys the game a year from now to not feel like they're a year behind when it comes to. So one of the benefits of seasons is in Season 4. On day 1, you and I are both level 1. I bought it that day. You have owned the game for a year. We're in the same place. We can play together and have fun together. And so as opposed to everybody from this moment on is now falling behind, seasons allows us to have that fresh start for everybody, right?
Yeah, that's actually, I couldn't put it better myself. That serves as a really good opportunity for us to make sure that players have a starting point together when you want to come in a little bit later into the game experience. If you've taken a season or 2 off because something else came out, we want to make sure that it feels like, the most important thing for us in seasons, and kind of going on script in a different way now, is that like, when you're playing seasons and you're playing Diablo 4, you're having a great time. And when you've reached all the goals and done the things that you think are really important, and you want to like take a break to go play something else for a while, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. We do the same thing. You don't fall behind. But when a season rolls, there's new things for you to come check out. That's a great time to come back, particularly if you had a good time playing before. That's exactly when you should come back and check out Diablo 4 fresh.
Okay, I'm out. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When the next WoW expansion comes out, there's a non-zero chance that I'm going to play WoW for a while. But it's great to know there's a point that I can come back to Diablo 4 and everybody's on an even footing. Yeah.
Question here from Jeffrey Allen, and didn't specify this D4 or DI, so I'm actually going to ask both because I think this is relevant to both. Also,
why do you have a new mic?
I actually don't know. But yeah. 2 mics, guys. I'm very. You have me in stereo. Can you say which cosmetics will be transferring between characters? So for instance, like for Diablo Immortal, we'll ask this specifically for Diablo Immortal, and then we'll talk about Diablo 4. But in regards to transferring cosmetics, like if you ended up buying a cosmetic in Diablo Immortal, does that actually also appear in the Blood Knight?
So cosmetics purchased prior to the Blood Knight's release will not be retroactive. However, the sorry, what was the Mother's Lament said?
Hatred's Heritage.
Hatred's Heritage will be available for the Blood Knight.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. So going forward, there will be now new cosmetics available for the Blood Knight, just as they are for all the other classes in Immortal. And then I guess for D4, will cosmetics be transferring to seasons, and will they need to be reobtained? I know this was like a question that we get a lot from people in regards to transmogs, and if you salvage specific stuff, how does that work between characters from Eternal and Seasonal Realms?
Yeah, Bethesda is all transferring over with you when you go into the new season. And obviously, every cosmetic set that you're purchasing via the store and via the Battle Pass, that stuff also is going to be carrying over with you.
Yes, if you ever unlock anything, your whole account has access to it forever, is the current functionality.
Nice.
I shouldn't say it that way. It sounds like we're going to change it.
Yeah, that means over forever, ever.
Let's see. Nightmare, this is from Kincho Kimo. This is Nightmare Teleport was great, but why can't we just teleport right into dungeons rather than just to the entrance? So this one I think is interesting because Nightmare, we obviously incorporated the teleport here in 103. It was another thing that we had talked about where it was community feedback that we had gotten, and the team jumped on it really quickly to implement it in a specific way. We have been seeing a lot of feedback in regards to players having to teleport outside of dungeons and kind of go through like a couple load screens. It was a quick, implementation from the team and everything. So I know it's something that we've been hearing from our side, and it's something that we're going to be looking at more here in the future for optimizing and making sure that we can implement and maybe in a better way from some of the features that we've been just kind of adding in really quickly. On Immortal, we have. Was there some sort of Castlevania
디아블로4 관련만 이야기했으면 좋겠는데 왜
looking very
그러니까 얘네들이 지금 매출은 이모탈이 좀 더 기존을 크게 차지하긴 하겠다. 패키지는 한번 팔아먹으면 그냥
That's
끝이지.
Adam's kink, by the way.
We can turn off Rod's mic now, so that's all we need to do. But yeah, was there any inspiration kind of thrown with the Blood Knight?
I think, when you're working with a tropic idea in fantasy, like vampires, you take inspiration from all over. The spear thing puts us in mind of Vlad the Impaler. The aesthetic, you've already talked about some potential references, but I think for us is as much like what we take out as what we leave in. We don't want the Blood Knight to feel like a grab bag of all vampiric myths. They are very specifically grotesque, blood, shadow, knightly weapons oriented, and so there were things like turning into mist, like turning into wolves, etc., that we immediately said, hey, these need to be off the table. And so in that regard, I think there's a lot of familiar that we're channeling, but there's also like a very dialed in identity for the class.
Awesome.
Everybody knows that it's necromancers that turn into mist.
Let's see. In regards to Diablo 4, we have. Will you guys be nerfing or buffing in the middle of seasons, or will you be making changes after the season starts?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So,
this is from Godok, by the way. So there you go.
Okay,
I just wanted
this is
to.
a real person. Yes, this is a good question. So we made a number of adjustments during the preseason period to make sure that we're bringing some builds back into where we expect them to be functionally and performance-wise. When we go into the seasonal release, we do want to create structured moments in time that we're going to be talking about, I think, more in future streams. When we expect buffs and nerfs to happen. So we have a regular set of patches that are going to be occurring after the season is released, where we have a better schedule in cadence when we're talking about these things. We really want to try to reserve big nerfs and big buffs for only extreme outlier cases and things where really
자, 그리고 악몽던전
endgame experience for a number of players.
왜 입구로 순간이동을 꼭 해야만 했나요? 라는 질문에는 그건 임시적인 방편으로 빠르게 그렇게 만들어 놓은 것뿐이고 앞으로 최적화할 것이다 이런 뉘앙스로 이야기한 거 보니까 나중에는 패치가 돼서 던전 안으로 넣어 주려나 봅니다.
But if the zone lights on fire when you use a malignant power, we're going to patch that. But otherwise, we're going to try and keep things stable.
I know we're running close on time because we were planning on the stream to be 90 minutes and we're 1 minute away. So I'm gonna lightning off a few questions a big question within chat is obviously about stash space, which is something that we kind of just talked about a little bit earlier.
I'll say it real quickly though,
Yeah.
like we definitely hear everybody about this. We are talking a lot about what we need to do with this. We've got good plans of things we can do to improve the situation. I know it's frustrating to hear me say like, what you were able to do this, like you could be able to do like nightmare dungeons this quickly, but like the reality is like we are moving really, really quickly on this. We're gonna be trying to provide more space in the future. We're figuring out how we're gonna get that accomplished.
Yeah, and also one thing to notice, I know we talked about during campfire chats about how gems and so forth were going to be part of the materials in the future. So I know when that hits, like that will obviously free up a lot of stash
There's
space
lots
for
of different ways to
users.
kind of like slice away at this problem. That's like an example of what we're trying to do to start trying to mitigate this a bit.
And then Jim, the Q guy, asked how much time between seasons. Still wants to level up his main. So in between seasons, obviously, we had talked about seasons lasting 3 months.
It's a minimum of 12 weeks. Sometimes it might be a little longer, but you always have at least 12 weeks to complete your season.
Correct. Yeah. So you guys will hear
the calendar dates, right?
Yeah. So you guys will hear like no matter what within or like once we hit that 3-month period, you'll start to hear news about the next season actually hitting and everything like that. And then this one, I guess for Rod, are there any plans on new classes coming to Diablo 4? We've just heard about the Blood Knight, so they're
We have nothing to announce at this time.
사람들이 아까 그 디아블로 이모탈에서 나왔던 새로운 직업군 블러드 나이트를 왜 디아블로 4에는 만들 생각이 없냐고.
We're gonna wrap it here for today. Obviously, we talked a lot about
그게 마음에 들었나
all
보네
the stuff
사람들이.
with Diablo Immortal for the Blood Knight coming out on July 13th. We also have for Diablo 4 Season 1, Season of the Malignant, which is going to be the patch will be on July.
그리고 시즌
8th.
중간에
And then the actual season starts on July
혹시 뭐
20th.
큰
We do actually have
버프나
two
너프 같은 거를
blogs, one on
할 건지
DiabloImmortal.com and one on Diablo4.com.
이전처럼
They'll be
갑자기 그렇게
going live either right now
확확
or
바뀔 건지
immediately
그러면은
after this
우리들도
live stream.
계속
They'll have all
빌드를
the
계속
details and
바꿔야
information that we
되니까
just talked about
그거에
here
대한
on the stream.
질문에는
Yeah,
정말
lots of stuff coming up here for Diablo.
크리티컬적인 정말 막
Oh yes, and there's a patch
밸런스에
that's
방해될
happening.
정도로
We'll be
엄청난
seeing,
사기적인 무언가 버그성으로 막 그런 게 나오지 않는 한은
we will have a patch. We'll have
저번처럼
patch
그렇게
notes up on
큰 너프나 버프
Diablo4.com. We
같은
have a
거는
patch
없을
article
거라고
that will
합니다.
actually note, and we'll be updating people when that patch does hit. It is a client patch. It will require a download. It will be on all platforms. And yeah, lots of Diablo stuff coming up here in the next few weeks. Really excited. Happy Diablo family.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff coming up. I know we will be rating 2 Diablo content creators immediately after this stream. One on Twitch, which is Barricade, and the other one on YouTube, which is Killswitch. So make sure to tune into those guys. And thank you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in to the Diablo Developer Update live stream. And from everyone here on the Diablo team, we hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
아, 이렇게 끝나는구나. 자, 그럼 우리는 그리고 그 뭐냐 마지막에 그게 나왔어. 보관함 어떻게 할 거냐고 했는데 계속 똑같은 말을 반복하네요, 얘네들. 보석 같은 거는 이제 뭐 스택 제한 없이 계속 제로로 쌓이게 될 거다라는 정도밖에 이야기를 안 해. 그러니까 여기에서 보관함이 뭐 패스오브 액자리나 그런 것처럼 너끈하게 나오는 거면은 언급을 했을 건데 그런 게 없나 봐요. 그리고 그 시즌의 얼마나 길게 운영을 할 건지에 대해서는 최소 12주 정도, 최소 3개월 동안은 지속을 하고, 그러니까 이전에 얘네들이 항상 이야기했던 3개월에서 4개월 사이 그 안에 딱 들어맞는 거죠. 이것도 계속 나왔던 질문인데 이 질문 누가 하는 건지 모르겠는데 이거 얘네들이 그냥 대충 자기네들이 하고 싶은 말만 하려고 질문을 저렇게 뽑아왔나 봐요. 채팅창에서 올라오는 질문을 읽어주는 게 아니라 아하. 관련 내용이 바로 올라올 것 같은데. 아직 국내에는 안 나와 있고, 아직 해외에도 아직 안 나왔네요. 1.0.4에 대한 내용이 곧 뜰 것 같고, 그리고 시즌에 새로 등장하는 고유나 전설 같은 경우에는 표면적으로는 얘네들이 공개를 안 했잖아요, 지금. 그거에 대한 부분은 18일부터, 20일부터 출시니까 18일부터 다운로드 가능하다고 하니까 18일 날 다운로드, 새로운 클라이언트를 다운로드 하면은 데이터 마이닝해서 보는 방법밖에 없을 것 같습니다. 그래서 18일 날에 이제 다 공개가 되겠네요. 자, 봐봐. 그럼 시즌 1을 하려는 사람들은 쌀먹을 하기 위해선 시즌 1을 해야 됩니다. 일단 골드가 스탠다드에서는 고립이 되고 시즌에서 다시 이제 새롭게 시작하는 사람들은 또 장사가 잘 될 거란 말이죠. 그래서 쌀먹을 하기 위해선 시즌 해야 돼. 그리고 그 불길한 심장, 그게 이번 시즌의 주요 컨텐츠인데 그걸 이용을 하려면 또 시즌을 해야 됩니다. 그러니까 기존 보석 대신 전설 위상과 비슷한 그런 옵션들이 있는 보석을 박을 수가 있기 때문에 또 하나의 메리트가 되긴 하겠죠, 그게. 기존의 스탠다드 서버에 있는 애들은 그러면은 뭘 얻느냐? 기존의 스탠다드에 있는 사람들은 새로운 전설 위상, 새로운 고유 아이템은 시즌이 아닌 비시즌도 그대로 누릴 수가 있다고 해요. 하지만 얻을 수 없는 거는 이제 불길한 심장 정도? 그거 이외에는 다 똑같아. 불길한 심장 때문에 시즌을 해야 되나요? 라는 질문에는 아까도 앞서 이야기했듯이 쌀먹을 하고 싶으면 뭔가 거래가 활발하게 하고 싶다면은 시즌을 또 해야 되는 부분입니다. 아, 7월 20일인데 우리나라 시간으로는 7월 21일이겠구나. 자, 지옥 물개 상자 고유 드랍 패치. 홈페이지 이렇게 다 떠 있나 보네. 아까도 무슨 뭐 파란 심장 뭐 이런 이야기가 나왔었는데 이게 색깔별로 띄울 수 있는 그런 게 다 있나 보네요. 이게 와우에서도 있었던 그런 소개팅 시스템이죠. 얼개 보석 같은 게 뭐 따로 있으면 모르겠는데 자, 신규 고유 아이템, 신규 전설 위상은 스탠다드에서도 업데이트가 돼서 그대로 사용할 수가 있다. 아까 그래 이런 이야기도 있었어. 아까 중간에 설명할 때 그 캐릭터 뭐 볼은 어차피 적용이 안 되기 때문에 지도 밝혀놓은 거 기준으로만 하면 되겠죠. 가장 많이 진척도가 높은 캐릭터를 가지고 한번 들어가서 그거를 이제 마운트 시켜야지 그 시즌에 적용이 됩니다. 그래서 가장 진척도가 높은 캐릭터 한 마리로 그렇게 하면은 될 것 같습니다. 근데 이건 별로 크게 중요한 건 아니야. 아 이거 왠지 요거 더 먹을 것 같은데. 아 시즌 1이 그냥 정식 버전 시작 수준으로 생각하면 되겠다. 이 기존에 우리가 즐기고 있던 거랑 그냥 큰 차이점이 없습니다. 이것도 아까 이미지 봤죠? 이 투구에서 이펙트 살짝 나오는 거 빼고는 이게 뭐야 이게. 나 이건데? 댓글 한번 보겠습니다. 민심 한번 보자. 아직까지는 매운맛까지는 아닌데 이거 시작하고 나면은 근데 일단 3개 단계 5단계는 내용이 전혀 없는 걸로 봐서는 이번 시즌 1은 그냥 이대로가 될 것 같습니다. 3개 단계 그냥 4까지. 그래서 기존 지금 아이템들이 한순간에 똥값이 되지는 않을 것 같네요. 이게 만약에 3개 단계 5단계를 예고를 했다? 그러면은 지금 기존에 있던 아이템은 빠르게 다 던졌어야 되는데 그런 내용은 없는 거 보니까 이 부분은 어떻게 보면 좀 다행이라고 봐야 되나? 아무튼 이제 골드 시세는 소폭 하락하겠습니다. 당연하게도 이제 새로운 시즌이 시작하다 보니까 기존에 살려는 사람들의 주머니가 크게 되겠죠. 그럼 수요는 줄어들고 공급은 계속 똑같이 유지가 된다면 수요와 공급 원칙에 따라서 당연히 골드 시세는 떨어지기 마련입니다. 그리고 제가 예상했던 것처럼 오늘 발표 시점부터 딱 2주 안에 점점점 순차적으로 떨어집니다. 이제. 와 여기 엄청 많이 쌓였는데 아까 중간에 틈틈이 크레딧 눌렀었는데 이걸 다 날리네. 잠깐만 이거 엄청 많이 쌓여있을 것 같은데 거의 2시간 정도 쌓은 것 같은데 제발 나와 있어라. 아, 왜 또 이거 지옥 물결이야. 다 날라갔네요, 이러면. 지옥 물결 생기면은 여기 있는 친구 딱 소개해야 돼. 방금 시작됐네, 그것도. 지옥 물결. 여왕이 거래한다고. 크로스 끄셨네. 아, 켰네.
우리는 길을 원한다. 소재할 수 없어. 더 소재할 수 없어.
내가 죽어보려고 이때까지 기다린 거야? 아이고.
가치 없는 물건은 없는 법이죠. 정말 필요 없으신 거죠? 네, 그럼요. 제가 구매할게요. 네, 그럼요. 제가 구매할게요.
5시네요 벌써. 이거 물결만 한번 바꾸고 자러 가자. 로아님 아직 계시네. 지금 빨리 가서 하나를 바꾸면은 4개를 바꿀 수 있지만 그냥 3개만 바꾸면 뭐 하겠노? 29면은 수능 어는데. 여기가 아까 내 유실물이 있었던 채널 같은데 그냥 싹 사라졌죠. 아마 지금 새벽 시간이라서 국내 유저가 많이 없어서 그렇지. 근데 내일 자고 일어나면은 그래서 시즌 1이 의미가 있나? 라는 글이 나올 것 같은데. 아무튼 이따 점검 지나서 1.0.4 패치가 이루어진다고 하니까 시즌 전 마지막 패치이지 않을까? 야, 세 개 다 바꿀 수나 있을까? 나 지금 벌써부터 장 오는데. 큰일 났네. 조금만 더 모으면 되는데.
제 기대가 통한 모양이군요.
하루에 하나씩 나오는구나. 오늘 고유 단검을 하나도 못 주웠었는데. 근데 이게 규탄이 아닐 수도 있어. 확률은 50%. 규탄이다. 근데 왠지 위력이 높지 않을 것 같은 느낌적인 느낌. 위력은 높은데 최하급 규탄이더네요. 20%. 어떻게 하면 이렇게 최하급이 되지?
정말 필요 없으신 거죠? 네, 그럼요. 제가 구매할게요. 없는 물건은 없는 법이죠. 정말 필요 없으신 거죠? 가치 없는 물건은 없는 법이죠.
아카라트의 축복이 함께하시길. 좋은 거리였습니다. 또 오세요.
말 온 김에 쓱 밖으로 가자.
마을에선 안 돼. 준비가 안 됐어.
오늘 패치하고 나면 이런 데서도 희귀 고요까지 나올 수 있다 그 말이네. 오늘 본의 아니게 굉장히 짧게 라이브가 이루어졌죠. 오늘 저것도 나온다는 소식 때문에 일찍 키는 것보다 딱 캐침만 얻기 위해서 좀 늦은 시간에 켰고요. 내일 뵙도록 하겠습니다. 내일이 아니죠. 예, 이따가 뵙도록 하겠습니다.